Right, hang on.
Not even started.
Hello! How are we all doing? Fingers crossed it works the second time, eh, Mike? Have actually been... Well, no, that's not strictly true. Was streaming, was not actually live. So fingers crossed this time. I did mention the new system and all of that. That was the issue.
We are live.
Yay! Fingers crossed. Awesome. Shame you missed the first bit, but never mind. It was only me waffling, so nothing greatly lost. Right. I need to say hello to everybody, don't I? Which is going to prove tricky. Right, there we go. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Tracy, although Tracy might not be there. But have a grand holiday anyway. Hello, Kim. And we have Pandemonium. And we have Carol. Hello. And Patience. Hello to you. Oh, yes, it's a glorious 12th is Mike's birthday. Hello, Stephen. And hello, Barnsong Productions. I do like that, Barnsong. I'm liking that. Right, I have put down, I'm sure it was you last week that wanted the logo thing. I've put that down.
It was indeed.
Yeah, I've been pondering it.
Stephen said I'm 29 tomorrow.
What,
multiply that by 2 and knock off a couple.
No, don't tell them how old you are. Because I'm a few months older than you. That would never do. And I'm only 21.
This is true.
Yes. So knock that off right away, Mike. Hello, Deb. Deb's there as well. So, hello, everybody. What have we got tonight? We have got quite a bit. We have got the week at MacBites headquarters. We also have, I got quite excited about this, your mileage may vary, but automating text expansion. Now, we probably all use text expansion. If we do, put in the chat which one you use. I use Typinator. 20% off this week if you don't own it, by the way. I did try, what was the other one? Text Expander. Didn't get on with it at all. Do you remember when it kept losing my data in Dropbox and bad words were said? Anyway, I will be showing you not just how that actually works, but how to make it work brilliantly. I got rather excited, overexcited to be honest, with how I managed to do that. Then we've got CollaNote. There is a reason we have CollaNote. This is all to do with GoodNotes, which has brought out version 6 and slapped a subscription on it. CollaNote is totally free. There is a completely voluntary pro edition where you just get extra stuff, but everything in it is actually free. So I thought I would show you that. Oh, hairy scary bit of that is it's going to involve the iPad, so anything could happen. Then we've got the freebies. Freebies are rather fun this week. I enjoyed playing with the freebies this week. Actually made something with them. Then the return of Mike. I think that deserves a round of applause. Yes, Mike is coming back. Mike is doing Power BI, creating a report on a Mac, which you prepped yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting to listen to him. Oh.
What's it?
Oh, yes. Well, when you said that wasn't there and where did that come from and everything had changed. So that one could be interesting. Then in Obsidian, it's only tiny, but it's good. Footnotes. How to put them in, how to navigate them, and how to make sure they look amazing when you export stuff. And then we have the unboxing to end all unboxings, I think, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
You know I'm joking, don't you?
No.
It's a good one, let's just say that.
And
Right.
Jammy's not here to see
Jammy's not here to see the unboxing, and he wouldn't want to miss this one, I assure you.
I could put it in Slack.
Yes, go and wake Jammy up.
Jammy,
go and
where are
tweet him as well and everything, because he's probably forgotten. Right, we're broadcasting in HD 1080p. Make sure you're watching in 1080p. Flag in the lower right-hand corner, the little red flash. That's what you're looking for. While you are there is the like button. I like the like button, but not as much as YouTube does. That's how they know to offer our videos to other people. So go and hit the like button. Right, so the week at MacBites headquarters. What happened? Oh, Stephen's using Text Expander. It obviously works better for you than it did for me. This was a long time ago, but the support wasn't great either. So I left. Right, so last Friday, yes, it was actually. This happened on the Friday, but I didn't know until I'd come off the live show. And that is I got a Billy Do from YouTube Premium. You can see it was 20 to 11. I was mid-show. How dare they? How dare they? They're putting the price of my premium up by £1. Have you noticed? It's that time, isn't it, where every service known to man is putting it up by £1. Yes, I noticed that as well. What I'll say about YouTube Premium is it used to be called YouTube Red. And they do split the profits with creators. So although it's gone up by a little bit, I'm hoping to offset that, but fingers crossed. Anyway, that was what happened while we were live in the show. Saturday, we were promised a game, weren't we? And you did watch it. I do remember that. Mike watched it. And they did win. This was a friendly, but they won. And it was at home, so they were trying the new ticketing as well, weren't they? So that'd be grand fun. I spent Saturday afternoon, though, listening to the radio. And I said to Mike, it's so long, literally years and years, since I sat there on a Saturday listening to the football on the radio. So it was the English Football League, and it kicked off on Saturday.
You mean on wireless?
On wireless.
On wireless.
Yes, not Tinternet. No, it was wireless. It reminded me of when I was at university and how I used to do it, so I loved it. So it kicked off on Friday, as we mentioned last week, but I spent Saturday listening to it all. The reason I was doing this was I was psyching myself up for something I'd been putting off. The grand iCloud fiasco. Yes, the new computer arrived on the 6th of July. iCloud did not arrive with it. Yet you have an option. Do you want to do the iCloud thing? Hell no, I said, and left it be. If you're wondering why, it was the iCloud Nightmare Edition. It was the bird process that was just running wild. So I wasn't minded to do the thing at all. My problem was it never seemed to sync. It would just... What do we call it? There's an icon, and it just sits there twizzling round, not actually doing anything at all. Until this was where I was. So I'd put it off for a month. I could put it off no longer. This is what I'll say. So far, so good. What I did do was disable everything that used it, and then added it back one at a time till I found the culprit. But, great fun was had on Saturday with that. Is there only me that struggles with iCloud? Or is it a bit flaky, shall we say, for you? Let me know in the chat. Now, Sunday, there's more football on. Oh, we are happy here, aren't we, when there's lots of football? Not only was there another friendly, I wondered how they were going to do that, Mike, because they moan about too many games and then they play one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday.
Two different teams.
Two whole different teams. Well, but that one was in Dublin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they also flew for a gratuitous game. Didn't they go one down? They did. Did they? Yes, I think they did. Yes, they did. And then they played the rest of the game and Mike was uttering bad words. But once that was over, headed off for I keep saying the Charity Shield. Have you noticed they've renamed it? It's the Community Shield. It used to be a match totally for charity. It's probably now the fact it's not, isn't it? That's probably why. Anyway. Yes, it went to penalties. And I couldn't believe City lost on penalties. I thought they were red hot on penalties. But they didn't. So Arsenal won that one. In the meanwhile, we spent another day coding. Let's just say progress was made. We're nowhere near finished though, are we?
We're not.
I thought overestimated 5 weeks. Now I'm thinking it could be Christmas, but fingers crossed. Now, you all know what I like to do. Sunday night, Monday morning. I tend to ease myself into the week with some mindless content as I complete my weekly review. Well, the BBC iPlayer recommended this new series. Yes, it's called Wolf. I don't know about you, but one glance at that poster was enough to have me running for the hills. No, I didn't bother. This is what life will look like when the Apple headset gets released. Yeah, I was scared too. So I decided, having been accosted with that the radio, we're back to wireless, Mike. The radio was the way forward, and I ended up with a radio play from 1984, which I thought was long enough ago. But it turned out it was actually set in 1929. So you could say that was a tech-free experience. That they didn't even have phones, much less mobile ones. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, and it saved me from Wolf. If you've watched Wolf, no spoilers, but is it something I'm going to want to watch, or is it as horrific as the poster looks? Because it put me right off. Right, which took us through to Monday, an alarmingly early start on Monday. If you recall, England were playing. This is the England ladies football team. I'm going to keep quiet. Yeah, it went to penalties. But that wasn't the worst of it as far as I was concerned. England staggered to a win, but didn't exactly cover themselves in glory. Particularly one crazy incident that saw Lauren James sent off. What was she thinking? You can't just stamp on the opposition, can you, Mike? No. His poor form. David Beckham had an effigy of himself hung from a pub in the East End when he did it. Do you remember? 98 it was. She's since apologised. As I said to Mike, maybe I'm a little harsh, but I said she'd never play for me again if I was in charge. But that all paled into insignificance because there's never a match without an iPlayer issue. Seriously, there isn't, is there? It used to be ITV that was absolute garbage, but now the BBC. Do you remember when they lost it? Was it the Euros? And they lost the picture totally. This time, there was a time lapse, which meant the commentary on the game was a couple of seconds ahead of the action. That is going to be so annoying, isn't it? You know what we're like if you're watching a training video and it's slightly off. But football's even worse, so they're telling you they've scored before they've actually scored. For crying out loud, BBC, you've got one job and you never get it right. In better news, our microphones were fine, weren't they? We headed into the studio. Yes, again, 3 weeks running. And we were just as surprised as you probably are. Which meant I had a job to do first thing on Tuesday, which was the edit of 168. That actually looks neat and tidy, doesn't it? Not always like that. It was, is it the end of the line? Ooh, who's heard it? Let me know in the chat. That is where you will find it, or in your podcatcher of choice. Well, let me know if you've heard it. Also Tuesday, big day. I didn't intend to do anything about this, certainly not on Tuesday. But WordPress 6.3 Lionel was released. Did you know it was called Lionel, Mike?
I didn't know it was called Lionel.
They are all named...
As in Blair?
No, that was the first one I thought
Or Messi?
Of. Well, he's Lionel, isn't he?
Well, he's Leo.
No, the other one I thought of was Hello. Lionel Richie.
Oh, Lionel Richie.
Yeah. No, they are all named after jazz musicians. So this one was Lionel. If you're wondering, it's Lionel Hampton. Apparently, when you say jazz, it always reminds me of your dad. Because he liked his jazz, didn't he? Didn't he? Now, did we install it? Are you kidding? Do you think you'd ever have seen a MacBites if we'd done that on show day? No! We left it. Wednesday dawned. And with it, it was time to lift our head above the parapet.
Kim was nervous.
With what?
I presume the end of the line.
Mike had no idea what that was about until he got to the very end of the show. So it would have come as a bit of a surprise to Mike as well. No, on the Wednesday, it was time to update. I know it feels like this was mighty soon, and indeed it is. 24 hours. Well, at the 24-hour mark, I think you know if it's going to brick anything. And there was the jeopardy that if we don't do it, our hosting company has a nasty habit of doing it when we least expect it. Oh, that's when a MacBites is out. Yes. So in we went. And how many sites did we have? About 30. Amazingly, nothing broke. Well, nothing that we could see anyway. Yes, we were dumbstruck too. Don't think that's ever happened before. We did have 3 sites that had to have something uninstalled though, didn't we? Because they wouldn't play ball at all until it did. But no great loss. Which took us to Thursday. I was severely grumpy on Thursday. If you're in the UK, you'll probably know why. What is this thing? Please take it away. It was the hottest day in several weeks. And so if someone could arrange for this weather to be moved on, I'd be very grateful. And I think Mike would be too, wouldn't you? I forgot to mention at the very beginning, but we got the window open tonight. So if you can hear something, I doubt you will, to be honest, but if you do, well, you will if it's an ambulance or the police. Mind you, they're probably running scared after yesterday. But if you do hear something, that's why, because we've got the window open. Also yesterday, it was Tesco. It was Tesco Thursday. I don't know how you've done it, Mike, but they brought everything. Again! So we've actually got food that we can eat, which took us to Friday. Now, what always happens on a Friday? Sometimes it happens late on Thursday, but today it was Friday. I was grumpy, very grumpy, when it happened yet again. Notion, the usual Friday fun. All my notes for tonight were in Notion. I made the sage decision to copy them all over to Obsidian, which is local. Because 1 minute Notion was there and the next it's not. And this is the same issue that they've had for about the last 4 weeks. Comes to Thursday or Friday, very late Thursday, but mainly Friday. And it starts asking you to accept, what was it? Was it cookies again? It was, wasn't it?
It was cookies.
A cookie message comes up, but you can't get out of it. You say, yes, accept cookies, and then it says, are you sure? You say, yes, and then it comes back and says, do you want the cookies?
Cookie monster.
Yes. So I was very grumpy with that. My notes are now in 2 places, and that's why. It's also the official kickoff for the Premier League tonight. Last I heard, City were winning. United aren't playing till Monday.
Have a look now.
Mike is going to have a look and we'll update you. So if you're trying to do a likely, lads, you might want to turn the audio off now. How's it going, Mike?
If you don't want to know the score, look away now.
Yeah, because he's going to read it out.
2-0.
Well, it was 1-0 when I heard, so 2-0. They're playing Burnley. So I would expect a City win, wouldn't you? Yes. Burnley's not far from here. Are they playing at Burnley or City?
They're playing at Burnley.
Oh, it's a tiny ground and it's not far. Right, so let's head on to automating text expansion. First off, I'm going to show you the very basics of text expansion, which will take all of 30 seconds. But the bit I got excited about was I had a real-world job. And I pondered whether it was even worth attempting this real-world job. And then I thought of a way to automate it. So that's what I'll be sharing with you. Apart from the actual, I'm having a think as to what's free. Quite a bit of this is actually free. For a start, the numbers bit is free. I'm pondering the rest of it. As long as you've got Text Expander, probably the majority of this is going to be free. So what we've got here is a Typinator. This is what it looks like. Pretty much it's going to look the same, I would have thought, no matter what you've got. It just gives you a list of your text expansions. There's only 2 things that you need for a text expansion, and that is, let's have a look at the MacBites ones, right? You need an abbreviation, which for me is section key, and then AH for after hours, and then a number. And then what it expands to. And what it expands to for me is the YouTube link for that show. Now, I have in there 210 of them. Yes, future planning, right? And these are the links for them. Now, I've turned these off because this is my final thing. This is where I'm heading to. This is not where I started. Where I started had a handful of these, probably from about 184, 185. And it was because I realised I was putting these in multiple places. And it's too easy to make a mistake because when you look at these links over here, how on earth do you know which is which? YouTube give you no way that you could add to the link some indication with just like maybe putting 4 digits on the end. And then I know what show it is. None at all. So it was too easy to make a mistake. And these links go in the emails, they go in tweets, they go on Facebook, they go all over the place. So I needed some consistency to know that if I put something in, a specific link, it was the correct link. So you can see there's 210 after hours and there's 212 podcast links. Right, so how did they all get in there? Well, it was fairly simple. In Typinator, you can create collections of them. So first thing I did was to create in here a new abbreviation set. So we'll create one called test, and this is what we have. And then the easy way to do it is to put in, you click add to add one, you put in an abbreviation. Now the abbreviation is going to be some kind of code reference for me. So let's say I did it with the plus symbol, and then I put AH, and then I put 0203, and then I would put the link in there. And that is how it works. That's it. It's created. So what we have up here is the abbreviation and the link. But the problem with that is it's time consuming. There's 210 of them. and 212 of them. And that's before we even start looking at marooned, where there is 500 odd of them. So while this was great for the later shows, the shows that I'm creating from 184 onwards, to backfill them, living nightmare. You might think, well, the abbreviations are simple. Well, they are. They are fairly straightforward. If you look at the real ones, it's the section key and then it's just AH for after hours and a number. How far wrong can you go? And yes, you could automate that easily, as long as you can import them into here, which you can do. The problem was the links. Where are these coming from? Well, they're all over the place, like I've said. Obviously, the main source of those is YouTube. But there's nowhere that you can go on YouTube and just copy them. You'd have to go from video to video to video, which was what put me off. And so I then decided I needed to go back to the drawing board and have a think about how I could do that. And this was how I did it. So we'll get rid of Typinator for the moment. I'm going to bring on my browser, which is there. And this is how we manage the shows. So this is MacBites. We have MacBites 2.0, which is our dashboard. And then coming off that, we have shows for MacBites After Hours, the week at MacBites headquarters that we did when we were off air, and two others that we have MacBites Live and we have Marooned. So this is how I manage After Hours. So what we have in here is the show number. We have the details. We have the duration and the date, the status. So you can see something with this one here needs a follow-up, something I need to do. And we've got the poster. So that information presented in that format won't help us at all. So if we look at this one, the full Al Gore one, if I open that up, you can see we do have the link. There is the link. We also have a lot of other information in here, all of this stuff, including the slides at the bottom when they load in. So there's a lot of information in there, but it's that link that I would need. And obviously to get to that link for this show, I'd have to go into here and copy it. And yes, there's a copy button, but still there's 210 of them. So I created a completely new view called Typinator. And I made one change to that view from the 2022 to 2023 view, which is in here. It goes up to 210 and it goes all the way back to 0. Now you do have to load it. Oh, it's not 0 on this one, it's 1, isn't it? There we go. So let's load them all in. So I've got this set to load in 100 at a time. So right back to It's Alive, episode 1 in 2018. So with that view, how I did that was the URL was not showing in the previous view. All I needed to do to do that was unlock the page so I can edit it, go into here, and in the properties, it will show you what is available, and then underneath it shows you what's hidden. And the URL was something that was hidden. It was only seen above the fold when you drilled down. So all I did was make it viewable up here. I don't actually need in this view anything else at all. I don't need the poster, the duration, don't need anything. I left them there because they're not getting in the way. So it was fine. So that was how I created this. Now I did need to change the filter. So in the filter in here, there are 5 rules. It's looking for records that contain after hours, but that don't contain HQ day, which would be marooned, that don't contain MacBites Live and don't contain news. The one I had to add was this one at the bottom. If the URL is empty, it means it's a future show that I haven't created on YouTube, so I don't have a URL for it. And there's no point in seeing those. So if I took that away, we'd see up to 250, but it wouldn't do us any good. So I added that into the filter. So that was what I did in there. Right. At that point, I've got virtually everything that I need in here. So all I need to do in here is copy it. So I can click in here and make a selection, and I can do it across columns. And now you need me to load them. Honestly, usually when you do that, it stays open because I deliberately didn't change pages. But we'll do it again from the bottom up. Let's go all the way up to the top. And I've got those 2 columns selected. Now, you can fiddle around and do exports and whatever if you want, but why bother when you can just copy it? So I literally pushed a button on my mouse then and copied it. Right, at that point, it needs to go somewhere. So the best place to put it, for me, was in Numbers. So I just need a blank sheet in Numbers. Numbers by default does give me a blank sheet, but it gives me with a table name showing and all kinds of other stuff which I don't need. So I don't need to see the title of the table. I don't even need rows and columns for headers. I don't need all of these. So the first step is to get rid of them, so to delete those. And then in there, paste them all in. Now it's saying table data was imported and you can adjust it. And if you go into there, it gives you all of this. Now, as I copied it out and then pasted it in here, it says it's tab separated and anything. But if you find that there's something wrong with your data, you can do this. I don't need to do anything but with that. I would look down here and I've got all the way back to 1. I've got 210 rows and there's 210 shows. So I know that's correct. That's it. I would probably want, not that, I would probably want that wider, just so I can see more on one single view. But that is everything I need. Apart from the fact that column A isn't actually correct, is it? That's not what I want to type to have it expanded to what's in column B. So over here, the reason that I've brought this in is so I know which way round it is. Because if you think about it, we've got 210 at the top, because in Notion, that's what I would do. That's not necessarily how I would want it in here. So I do need to type in what my shortcode is, which is section key, which for me is in the top left corner just under the escape key. Shall we do like we did last week and everybody tell us where the section key is for them? If you've got a section key. I use section key because I don't have to hold down a modifier to use it, and I never use it for anything else. Ever. Used to in legal work, but not now. Right, so this one was 210. So that is what my expansion would be. The next one is obviously going to be AH, and that is 2009. 2009. You'd be older than you are now, Mike. Right, so these two, now I've got 2 of them, will enable me to select them. And unlike Excel, where you grab the corner, you've got this flashing yellow thing in here, and that will let you autofill down. So I am going to autofill that down. And I'm going to move it up so you can see that 3, 2, 1, yes, that is correct. So it's a quick eyeball of a check for me that that is correct. And it doesn't matter whether this is 5,000 lines. It doesn't matter how many it is. That is the data that we need. So it's probably a good idea at this point to save this as After Hours. You can see I did this in rehearsals and called it Untitled. Don't shout at me. Right, so this bit here, I've only got one sheet, the sheet at the top. If you do have multiple sheets, because you could do all of this in a single spreadsheet, but when you come to the export, you will have to remember to export just what you need. So in here, it's not PDF, Excel or Numbers. It's going to be comma separated or tab separated. So I'm going for comma separated, which is a CSV file. And just save that. It's going to take me to the same place. Hopefully it'll stick an extension on it. Let's find out if it does. But it's saved. So let me get my Finder window up and see what it has done. Right, and then I will share it with you. Okay, what are you doing in there? It has indeed. So this is what we've got. This is the numbers spreadsheet. This is the rehearsals that isn't needed. And that is the CSV file. So if we just quick view that, you can see it is the data that we've got. It's just in a text format. So we'll push that out of the way. We no longer need that at all, to be honest. You could completely delete it if you want. I'll just shut it down. And we're going in, let's hide that as well. And we are going in to Typinator. Right. Now, you could add this to a collection of abbreviations that are already there, or you can create a completely new one. Obviously, we don't want them added to this one or this one, because these are actually my real ones. And the only reason that they're not working at the moment is I took the tick out to disable them. And that was our test one. But up in the actions, we have in here the option to either import or export. Now, I know what format Typinator takes. If you are unsure what format your CSV file or your numbers file would be, I would suggest that you export one first. So if we put that on the desktop there, you can see what that is going to export is a Typinator set, but you can also use comma separated. And that way, when you preview this, you can see what you need, and you can see this looks identical to my CSV. So this was how I tested what it needed to look like. So depending on which one you're using, your mileage may vary. Right, let's get rid of that and go back and do an import. So this time, instead of exporting it, we are importing it. So I need the file, which is this one over here. Now it knows it can't import the numbers one, hence that one being dimmed out. But it realises that that is a CSV and it can actually import that. So let's open that. And it uses the file name and it adds everything. So I didn't need to have abbreviation at the top in a title row or expansion or anything like that. All I needed to do in here was just import it. And there they all are. Now this one, which is the real one, obviously if that was enabled, all heck would break loose. It should be telling me at some point that they clash. But in here, this one is active and this should just work. So if we get a text editor and we put in AH and let's say 100, it will automatically expand that to the correct link for show 100. That is the principle of it, but it can get a little bit more complicated than that depending on the data itself. So have we got any questions on that bit first?
No, but Kim says the section key is option 6 on a US keyboard.
Good grief, why? That's weird. Mind you, we're as bad with the pound one, aren't we? The hash.
Yeah.
It's option 3. At least it's on the keyboard. That one probably wouldn't be the best key to use for you then. What is under the escape key? Is there something under the escape key with the plus and the minus? Maybe you could use that one instead. I would use something that's easy. I wouldn't make it more complicated than it needs to be. But for me, the section key works. Most of my expansions are on the section key. I did toy around with having some on other keys and it actually made no sense to me. I couldn't remember. So I ditched that idea. Right, so in what way could this get more complicated? Right, well, let's go back to Vivaldi and have a look. So we've done the After Hours ones. Let's go and head into the MacBites ones. So I'm going to relock that one.
Tracy says section key isn't even on a Spanish keyboard.
Won't be using that one then, will you? You have to find something else. You've probably got some amazing keys that we don't have.
Have a word with Timmy.
Yes, blame Timmy. I don't think that was actually his fault. And it's not like me to admit that, but I don't think so. Right, so this time with MacBites, there is something that's annoyed us ever since we did it, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and caused problems with this, but I will show you how you work round it. So we have, oh, look at this, shows planned. It's amazing, isn't it? Not saying that, not making any guarantees that that's going to happen.
Johnny.
Don't tell Johnny. He'll be marking it in his calendar and then he would be bitterly disappointed. Never get to the point you're expecting a MacBites because it's always when you least expect it. But what I've got in here is every episode of MacBites. Now, I again created a dedicated view so I could see the number of the show and I could see the URL, which is not shown in this view. Now this time, obviously this is not on YouTube. So the URL in question this time is the MacBites link. And again, this gets put in tweets, it gets put in email, it's all over the place. So it's easier for me. I know I could do it where I actually put the number in, but it's easier to just keep it as similar to the After Hours as possible. So let's go back and let's load more in and do exactly the same with these. So this is the Typinator view. And this should load the lot. And this one does have an episode 0. The welcome show. If you've not heard episode 0, you need to hear that one. Right, so I'm going to do exactly the same as I just did, which is select the whole lot and push the button on my mouse. That's a quick copy. That is copied. Right, then it needs to go into numbers. So back into numbers, make, what are you starting over there for? No, bring that back over here. Right, we'll go for a blank one again. You could make one of these that's ready as a template, but you know, it takes 2 seconds, which is just turn the magic bits off and then go up there and paste. And again, I would make that a bit bigger so it doesn't wrap. I always tidy my spreadsheets up. Mike doesn't do this because he doesn't need to in Excel. But in here, you can delete extra columns that you don't need. So I always do that, and I do it in Google Sheets as well. So what we have in here is all of those links up to 172. Right. I will show you the problem in here because these are not the expansions, are they? So I need to go in and sort the expansions out. So if I go to the top, section key MB for MacBites, and then 0172, that will sort that out. And again, I will do the next one manually, which is section key MB 0171. So far, so good. Right, now this is why I was making a point of pointing out to you that I do watch what I'm doing. So as I go down here, I make sure that in this case that row 29 is 144. The next one is 143. Now, you may be thinking, well, it's hard to go wrong. It is, unless you've done something stupid a while back. So if we get down to the bottom, something's gone wrong. 170 is MacBites 3, but 171 is MacBites 3. What's going on? Right, I can tell you exactly what happened with this. It was MacBites 108A. So if we go up here, you can see that is 109. That one then says 108, but it's not. The next one is 108. That's where it goes wrong. Right. This is because 108A was a short show that Siri and Lady Siri did by themselves. We'd had a bit of a hiatus, hadn't we, Mike? I think Mum died. It was something like that. So because we'd already planned a MacBites 10, and we'd already got the posters and they were already numbered, it was like, let's make it 108A. And it's given us grief ever since. We won't do that again. But how do we fix it at this point? Well, I can leave that there, so don't pull it down any further. Go into here and make sure that the expansion for that includes the A. Then, down here, go in and put 108, which is what it is, and then this one, section key, MacBites 0107. Now, the reason that I've done these two manually is I've given numbers enough of a clue what I want filling in down here. So now when I pull down, everything should match. So that's 75, 74, 73, yep, everything looks fine. So let's get down to the bottom. Is that 0? It is. And again, if you pull these up, you just do a quick check. So you can get around issues like that where you're going to need an exception in the expansion. Okay, so we've got the expansions, we've got the links, that's it. So at this point, I will save that as MacBites, so I know which one it is. As I said, you could put this in the same file as the other one, you just have to be careful what you export. But in here, I'm going to File, Export to, and this one's going to be a CSV. And just save that in the same place, called MacBites, good to go. So let's lose that. Let's go back into Typinator and repeat what we did before, but this time for a group called MacBites. Now we do have a group called MacBites. That could cause problems. Right, I'm going to change the name of this CSV file to MacBites links, just so we don't overwrite what's in there. Right, so I'm going to the actions again. How this actually works in your text expander of choice, I don't know, but it should do. There should be a way to import something. Right, there's the MacBites links. Let's open that up. And there they are. So far, so good. Let's go down and keep having a look. Oh, we've got a problem. So what this exclamation mark is telling us is that something's clashing. And it is, because this one under this one, and it's actually telling you there, the abbreviation conflicts with the 108A because of the way it's going to expand. So a text expander can expand things in multiple ways. And that is indicated in Typinator by the little symbol at the end. So there's a couple of things here. The case must match, but it's not that we're bothered about with this. So the case doesn't matter, or the case affects expansion. Nothing to do with that. It's this one. What's going to happen is it's going to expand as soon as you type 108. That's it. You're not going to get the opportunity to type the A. So something different needs to happen here. So this one, if this one was set to not expand as soon as you get to 108, if it was set to expand when you finished it, but you press a space key, an enter key, or anything like that, that would solve the problem. That then displays slightly differently. So if I just click up here so we can see it, that one has what looks like a space bar in it. And what that's telling you is that that will expand only when you press space or you put in a separator character. So what does that look like? I go in here and I put After Hours, no it's not, it's MacBites, and I do that, nothing happens. It does not automatically expand. Now, if that was something else, so if that was a MacBites 0107, it would automatically expand, and that is not happening in here if it's 0108 until I press the space bar, and then it will. That means when I come in and I press MB 108A, that one will automatically expand because I've qualified it with the A before I press anything else after it, like this. So that's the one change I needed to make there. You may find something similar to that in something you've done. But for me, it was because though the expansion is identical, except for the A, but you've got the thing expanding at the point that you type the 8. So I had to change that. Let me know in the chat if your text expander has options like that, and if they are, what they called, because that's how you do it in Typinator. So you've got these two options. You expand on the match, or you expand on putting a key in as a separator. So we've got all of those in there now. You'll notice when these came in as well, they came in with a 0 at the top. So I didn't have to play around and organise them, order them, or anything like that. So how do I actually use this? Well, if I was going to tweet, I wouldn't want to play around and think about what the link was. So if I bring back Vivaldi and we do the Twitter thing. Oh, don't show me anything that's trending. I do not want to see anything that's trending. But in this, what is happening? We're going live right now with, and then I would put in, what am I doing here? No, with MacBites After Hours. We are 0203. Come and join us. So, right. Go and put a like on this when I've done it as well. Right, so in there, I would then put in the link. So it's After Hours, it's 0203, there's the link. That will pick up this from YouTube, and then I can just post it like that. Go and put a like on it. Let's see who can get the first like on it. Oh, it says it's sending. Oh, that's because it's giving me the option to undo it. I don't want to undo it. I want you to just send it. Do it now. Right, and if we do the now thing, there's the tweet. Oh, nobody's got a like on it yet. You're not even trying, Mike. But that is the kind of thing, that's how I would use it. And I use it like that all over the place. I also do that when I'm actually adding it into the system. So although I haven't got a link that isn't in the system, I'll show you how I actually do that. So, can we move backwards with that? No, we're not. We're moving the wrong way. Can we move forwards? Oh, here we go. Crying out loud. Set your cookies. Darn you. Right, let's go back over there and pick the thing. Right, were we in here? We were. So just as an example with this, although I am in the show title, and this wouldn't be the show title.
I was first.
Oh, excellent, Mike. Although it wouldn't be the title, what I'm going to do is show you that how I fill these in is by going in here and then just putting that in. So MacBites 172, and it automatically expands. And I can put that anywhere. The big time saver, as far as we're concerned with that, is After Hours. Because in After Hours, let's look at that one again. No. We don't want you to go out to it and start playing it. No, don't do that. Crying out loud. That one there. Right. And it opens it up in here. We have to put the link in there. But then as we move down, we've got the link in all of these. So the link has to go in each one of those. They're the socials. Then in here, we have a block with the video in. So we put the link in there. This is a YouTube block of HTML code that goes in the blog post for this, which pulls the video through. And then all of this has the link in it as well. So the link is used multiple times. And to be able to just use an expansion for it saves a ton of time. In terms of doing it the way I've done it, rather than add one at a time, I will never go back to doing them one at a time, even though from this point on I could do that. And the reason that I would still use the system that I've built up is because I can give the CSV file to Mike and he can import them over there. And that way he has all of the latest ones as well. So that is why we do it that way. So have we got any questions on that?
No, Annie has never used text expansion.
You need one.
And she says, I dream of being as ultra organised as Elaine.
It's doable. It is. It's doable. Right. Okay, then. Let's lose that out of the way. I've got no idea what's next, but let's do it. So now I'm going to turn off these test ones. I will tidy those up later, but the real two are getting turned back on. Right. And out of there. Okay. Oh, CollaNote. Yes. It's been a bad week if you don't spend any money. So the situation is that GoodNotes has been around for a long time, and you can have up to 3 free notebooks. Now, they brought that in, and originally you had to pay if you wanted any notebooks, but they brought it in that you can have 3 free notebooks. With version 6, it's now gone subscription, although you can pay $30 and have a lifetime thing. But CollaNote is fabulous and it's free. So that is the idea of what I was going to show you. So we're using new technology for this bit and Mike's bit. So we've not done this before. So it could all crash and burn. So bear with us while we try it. But fingers crossed it'll actually work. So I press that button and then I do that button and then I do magic beans and it just works, apparently. Let's see if that does actually work. There we go. It is actually working. Well, it's working at the moment. Right, so you're looking at my iPad. I can't see a thing now. It's blanked all my screens out, Mike. On the upside, at least it landed on the right one, which it didn't in rehearsals, did it? So CollaNote is up there. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, because, you know, you can't help but look, can you? When you see somebody's dog, it's like, what's in there? I do actually have GoodNotes in there, but you'll see it's GoodNotes 5. I have not done the GoodNotes 6 thing yet, pondering it. But this is CollaNote that's at the top. Now, it was written by a guy, I think he was a student when he wrote it, and he created it with students in mind. So we'll open CollaNote, and this is what it looks like. Now, everything in here, you're not limited in terms of notebooks. Everything that you see in here is free. There is a premium purchase, which is in the top corner. But you get extra stuff with it. It's not that it doesn't fully work until you've done the thing. It's extra stuff. Some of the extra stuff is really useful. So there are extra pens and brushes, but I would say audio recording is probably the biggest thing. Stabilization for handwriting. Also, you can have writing sounds. The ability to lock notes with passwords. You get folder and note covers. You could do the note covers by just putting in a page, though, to be honest. And you get stickers, wallpapers, and so forth. I did do this thing because the lifetime deal on this is $7.99, which is less than a year of the other one. And, of course, I'm demonstrating it. So I'm going to have everything that is in there, but the only thing that you wouldn't have if you went for the free version is the extras that you may not need anyway. So what we're looking at, this is the interface for managing it. You can see it can save on the device, which is where we're working now, or the iCloud thing, not risking that, not in a live demo, not any day soon. I wouldn't with that, but I can see if this is your main note-taking, then yes, you're going to want some synchronization, aren't you? And it looks like iCloud is the way. I don't use handwritten notes in that way. My handwritten notes to me are, if you know Zettelkasten terminology, they're fleeting notes, which is the digital equivalent of a post-it note. And when I've dealt with it, I'll throw it away. But what we've got in here is one folder that's called MacBites that has got content in it. So if I tap on that, you can see I've got a calendar there, a planner, and I've got the Quirk book from last December. Now that Quirk book is just importing a PDF. It's not making it a CollaNote file format. There's no such concept. I just imported a PDF. Once you've drilled down into a folder, you can see the folder name at the top in the middle. It says MacBites. And you've also got the ability with the up arrow to navigate back up. When you're at the all notes stage, as we are now, then there is nowhere higher that you can go. At the bottom, you've got the ability to create your content. So the first thing you can create is a quick note. Now, a quick note just creates that note and drops you straight into it. And then you can make a quick note. Why can't I write straight, Mike? I never do. I basically have my iPad upside down when I'm writing, but there's a quick note.
Is CollaNote only on the Mac, on the iPad?
It is, but don't forget that if you've got an M series Mac, you can install iOS apps on the Mac. So I'm working on the principle that's why he didn't make one dedicated for the Mac, because we'll all be using iOS software very, very soon. But no, not at the moment. So that shows you the quick note at the bottom. That's the note you've created. I'll just take you through the options at the bottom. You've got the ability to make a note rather than a quick note. And a note allows you to choose templates and things. Then you've got the import PDF, which is how I got the Quirk book in there. Then you can create a new folder. And then you've got the settings as well. So these are your settings in here. You can change it to a dark interface if you want. Let's come out. That doesn't look dark to me. Oh, it's getting there. I don't like that at all, so we'll toggle that back off. And you can change the colour of the interface. You can change all of these options in here, which would be nice if we could see them. So let's go back into that's better. Right, you can change the language, and the language is indicated by a flag throughout this, which is really visual. You can instantly see if you're in the right language. You can open the Files app, so you can open the files in here in the Files app. You've also got the ability to sort by name and date edited. And if you are learning this, you can leave these tips on, or if you are a pro, then you can turn those tips off. There was also in there what a quick note looked like. So you can change the default name, or you can even change the default template. Now that's akin to OneNote, where, well, is it called quick note in OneNote? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing with the Surface Pen that appears. Yeah. So what they do in OneNote is quick notes have a different background colour. And it indicates straight away to you that that's probably an unprocessed note, that you've not tagged or done anything else with other than just grab it, that you've captured some information. And then you've got the ability in here, if you find a bug or you want new features, all of that is in that bit there. So those are the settings. Right. So let's go back and create a new note. So what we've got in here, this is the flag that I mentioned over on the right hand side, indicating that it's US English. Then you've got three options across the top. You can create a new note, which is what we're doing. Join rooms is really curious. I've never done this, have I, Mike? Because that would involve other people. I am so not involved with other people. But joining rooms is where you collaborate. Now, some of these rooms are public, but you can create rooms with, like, hence me saying, students. You know, students that I used to do that at university. We did have a study group at university. We all used to congregate in my room because it was the biggest. And we'd sit round in a circle on the floor cross-legged. Oh, happy days. So it's like that, but virtually. So you can join a room. You've also got what I would call templates, but they're not calling templates, which is digital planners at the top. We'll have a look at it. So the first thing is giving this a name. So at the moment, it's new note with a date and time on it. But if we wanted to call this test, you can just type that in there. Right, the next thing that you have underneath it is all of the colours. Now, I think because, to me, I thought, oh, that's to change the pen colour. No, it's not. I think I thought that because I'm writing test in it, and that's very close. But no, the colours underneath are the background colours of the notes. And you can see there's a lot of them. Obviously, once you know it's the background colour of the note, you are not going to pick the navy blue one because it's very difficult to read. But I would, I think, use something like the lemon. Right, the next thing to choose is the paper itself. So you can have plain paper, which is none on the left. Then you've got lined, which is small, medium and large. Then you've got the grid, and there's various grids in there. There's also Cornell notes over on the right. And some weird and wonderful stuff. There's music stuff down here as well, staves. Do you know what? When I learnt the accordion, you're surprised, aren't you? I did have a little music book that you had to like write it out in. Merrily We Roll Along was the
Don't
one I
know
was.
that one.
Mum was sick of it. She liked it at the beginning.
Can
but,
you wash your father's shirt?
No, every good boy deserves fruit.
No, Can You Wash Your Father's Shirt was a song.
Oh, right. No, I've no idea.
It wasn't a song, it was a...
Something you used to play on the piano.
Yeah.
No, never let me near a piano. I could play Fernando on the piano. But I did used to actually hand write out musical notes, but not done that since primary school. But then it goes really weird. You've got weird stuff in here, these hexagons and all kinds of stuff. I think no matter what you're looking for, you'll probably find it. You can see how weird and wonderful these things are. I'm assuming these are for people, like the circle one, circle 3. Tell me that is for just drawing in, that I've not missed something with that. But there's a whole range that you can use there. Pretty much for me, I think I'd stick to one of 4. I'd either have lines, although I can't write in a straight line. I'd have a grid.
Annie says row, row, row the boat.
No, I didn't graduate to that one. I was a one-tune wonder me, and I know music not for me.
I remember London's Burning.
I think I did that on the recorder.
You used to sing that in the round.
Yeah, and another one was Frere Jacques.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
School days. I would say happy days, but...
They weren't for me.
No.
I hated school. Absolutely hated school. My mum was convinced I'd leave the second I could, which would actually have been before my O-levels. I think she was completely gobsmacked as she rocked up to Oxford and watched me graduate. Like that was never going to happen, and it did. So I'd use lines, I'd use grids, I'd use the dot grids, and I think I'd use the Cornell stuff. So shall we have a Cornell one? Shall we have a Cornell medium? Let's have that. So you're selecting it at this point, but at this stage you can still go in here and change covers and stuff like that. But when you've done everything, you create the new, in this case, I would say it's a notebook, right? But that's the note. I don't turn this iPad sideways because I've no idea what would happen. But you've seen you can actually zoom in and out. But Cornell notes, you put the details at the top. So these would be the details of what that was. So for me, it would be like, the Theft Act, yes, at the top. And maybe we were concentrating on section 2 of the Theft Act. So I would put that at the top. The notes go in that bit there. So your actual notes go in there. This bit, this column down the left-hand side, is for you to point things out. So let's put that in. So it's dishonest. That looks silly, doesn't it? Right, dishonest. Appropriation. Property. So these are all things in the Theft Act that I would explain in here and then put like a heading to the side so I could quickly get to it. At the bottom, you should then... Oh, it's not on there. Why is that not there? Oh, there's usually a summary at the bottom that you can put in as well. And that was what my law notes used to look like. Well, obviously a little bit better than that, but you get the idea. Now you can, in here, as you see, as you scroll down, you've got page 2. And you can add in as many pages as you need. You can retrospectively change this, and you can add in other content. So let's have a look at some of that. So at the moment, I am using, at the top here, the quill pen. It really is a quill pen. And in here you have different options. So you can have things much thicker. I think the writing in here is probably better than GoodNotes. I much prefer the handwriting in Notability, but Notability went weird a couple of years back. So you've got all of these options in here. If I choose like a really thick one, I think I chose that one, and then had to play around with it. And you can see as you're moving the pen, sometimes it's really thick and sometimes it's a lot thinner. I've no idea what that's supposed to be. But that depends on the pen that you choose in here. So I think I had one of these set. The colour of the pen is chosen in this colour grid in here. So you've got all of the options that you had. And some of these are really nice. I'm liking these. I had turquoise ink at school. I got told to use black or blue, but I like turquoise. So you could do that as well. You can, irrespective of what you've chosen, then change the width and the opacity of that if you want. And then if you've got one set and it's perfect, you can add that to the favourites. In addition to the basic settings, you've also got the advanced settings in here. So do you want to hold to draw a shape, and it's set it to the default at the moment. Then you've got the stabilizer. Now remember, the stabilizer is a pro feature. You can choose whether you've got favourites for all the notes, etc. So you've got all of these options in here. I hadn't even gone into any of those, but that's what you've got. Then you have a highlighter option, which won't work great if it's lemon on lemon, will it? That was ridiculous. Right, let's go back to my quick note. Right, so we'll get the highlighter there. And what I love about this highlighter is it doesn't change the colour of the ink. It actually looks...
Tracy says snap with the turquoise ink.
Just get in trouble with it.
And Carol says I use purple ink.
Oh, purple would be good. No, it was like a kingfisher colour. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. French teacher, less so. But there again, I loathed French, so it was equal. So it puts the highlight, or it looks like it puts the highlight behind the text, which I absolutely love. It doesn't impact on the ink. So I like that. Right, the next tool we've got allows you to make a selection. So as you draw around it, it uses the same technology as Notability, GoodNotes and OneNote. You're kind of drawing around it. And once you've got that, you can copy it as an image. You can ask it to recognise the text. You can copy it, cut it, duplicate it, or even bin it if you wanted. So if I said copy it, it has copied that. I then go somewhere else and paste becomes an option. And then in there, I can make that bigger or smaller, and I can even format it in here. So if I wanted it different colours, that's not the best, is it? But I could get a pink, maybe. I can do all of this in there. Right. Now, next one's interesting, which is the eraser tool. So in here, you can see as I'm doing that, it's erasing the whole thing. I just go to the highlight there. Hang on, it's switched back. I only touched the edge of it and it erased the entire highlight. That's an option. So in here, in the erase tool, you have whole and partial, and the default is whole. It will erase everything just by touching the corner of it. Now, if it's a note like this and I just touch it, it's not going to erase the whole text because it was written as separate items. And I'm going to just undo that. But if I go to the erase and I just touch the end of that, then it will. So if I go back and we get that back. Right, the other option I've got in here, maybe I'm just trying to tidy that up. Then I can say partial and just tidy the end up so it doesn't look quite so squiggly. Now what's happening, as soon as I let go of the eraser tool, it's twanging back, which is another option. So auto switch back to the last tool, which most of the time would work great, but I don't want that, not for my demo. So let's do that, tidy up that end and tidy up that end. And then I would choose what I go back to. So that's the erase tool. You've got a text tool. Yes, I wanted the text tool. I don't know why it comes up with what looks like Comic Sans. Another issue I've got with this, and I may be doing it wrong. I don't know because I don't tend to type in here. Right, it says type your text, and how would one be doing that? Because there's no keyboard. And that's because I've got the pencil in my hand. Now, if I put the pencil back in its slot with a bit of luck, after a certain amount of time, right, then I can put my text in here. So, added text, like that. And you've got all of the options in here that you could possibly need to format that. And again, you've got the ability to copy it, duplicate it. You can also, we're on basic at the moment, but you can go to layers and then bring it to the front or send it to the back. So it has layers in there as well. The next tool is actually giving you access to a whole range of tools. So there is a laser pen. So we'll add a style to that. And that gives you this kind of thing. That wasn't what I was expecting, I'll be honest. What I was expecting is down here. That's the laser pointer. And that moves it across. So if I was demonstrating this, I could draw around things like that. That was what I was expecting, but that's much lower down. So this is really the catch-all for all the rest of the stuff. So it has a translate option. You can automatically add shapes as well. So if I make that there, and that's a really ropey thing. But what I've got, is it in here? Where would I change that? I've no idea. But back in here, if I start drawing circles and things, triangles, it is going to tidy them up. And I think all of them have that. GoodNotes certainly has that, and I'm sure Notability did as well. So if you are doing a sort of flow diagram, you've got those options. One of the tools in here that I think is absolutely brilliant is the ruler. This is pretty good, this. As I draw across that, you can see it sticks to it. When I move the ruler, you have a perfect line. You also have the ability in here to rotate it. So I'm just putting my fingers on it and rotating it. So if I wanted that 45 degrees, it does actually twang at the 45 degree mark. And then I can draw another line, and when we move the ruler, I've got a straight line. So if you are drawing far more carefully than I ever do, that ruler actually works really well. Did OneNote have a ruler? I can't remember it, because I would have used it if it did. Because a lot of my OneNote stuff's just squiggle. It's not good. So that's your ruler, and you can toggle that on or off. You can with the next tool. So now the pencil's on the desk, and I am drawing around this with my finger. There we go. So you can draw. You can choose to draw with your finger rather than the pen if you haven't got the pen, the pencil, whatever. Right, the other thing, I won't show the audio recording because that's in the Pro thing, but it's there if you want it. All right, let's go back into here. All right, I haven't got anything that looks actually amazing at this point, so let's create something that looks reasonable. So in here, let's make test 2. So test 2. Right, in addition to these papers, which are fairly standard, you do get to choose the background colour and you do get to choose the actual layout of the paper. You also have templates, and these are kind of cool. These are good. So there's a Christmas one. There's a Christmas party dark. I like the red one. There's also a sunset, but I'm too hot to be thinking about that one. And a whole range of others. Halloween, flowers, you name it. These are nice. Some of them are actually like calendars, which is what I tend to use GoodNotes for. I would print out a calendar and then start drawing over it to plan the month. So there are options for that in there. So let's choose that nice red one, like that one, and create a note. And what it's done is it's put lines on top of it, but, I've still got my draw with my finger, which I don't want, do I? Turn that off, go away. Right, what I want to do is show you the stuff at the bottom. So for children writing their Santa list. Can I write a list for Santa, Mike? And you'll just deal with it. Or have I spent quite sufficient so far? But that's what you've got in there. So I think that's cool. Now what I'm doing is I'm pinching inwards. Now when I pinch inwards, right, we're seeing multiple things here. On the right, the left-hand side, we've got bookmarks. So you can make bookmarks in these things. You've also got access to your files. So you could open another file. Or you could actually search for something. And you can do that by typing it in or writing it in. Whatever you want to do there. And that becomes available when I pinch in. When I pinch outwards, you can see it disappears again and then it takes the full screen. Other thing, as I'm pinching in, you can see there is a wallpaper behind it, and that is user configurable. Now, I think you get more wallpapers on the Pro thing, but you can actually change the wallpaper. I would probably just have something plain there, but that's what you can do with it. All right, I want to show you what a PDF looks like, and you can see what's happening over here as well. That is accessible even with this full screen. You just swipe it in and out over there, and then you can go between the tools like that. But I'm going to go back into here. Right, in my MacBites folder, I told you I'd imported a PDF. So if you want to be filling in something that's unique to you, there is the option in here to just import the PDF, which is what I've got there. So I'm going to zoom so we can see more of it. That is the quirkbook, and it is identical. It's just imported it as is. What we were doing last year, if you remember, busy old time in December, was I put the shows in, so we had the 2nd of December, and then there were some notes pages for each show. And in there, you could then write your notes. So, write your notes like that. So that's bringing in a PDF of your own. So you could do that on your desktop. I did that in Affinity Publisher and just bring it in here and then actually fill it in. So as an alternative to GoodNotes, it's very fully featured. What I will say is, if you're, I don't do this, but your mileage might vary. If you're managing a lot of files, so let's go up to the top level. We've got 3 files here. Let's say I wanted to move all 3 of those files into the MacBites folder. Well, you have edit in the top right-hand corner, but when you go there, unlike most other apps I've seen, you don't have the option to just choose like 10 files and move them. You have to move them one at a time. So that could do with a bit of improvement. So if I wanted to move this, I'd have to tap move, then I'd have to tap where it's going and then move to this folder. So move MacBites, move to this folder. I think it would be better. They're obviously not thinking in terms of heavy file management where you've got lots and lots of notes and you're trying to organise them all. Whether that would be any easier in iCloud Drive if you could organise it on the desktop. On the other hand, you might not even see the folder on iCloud Drive because Ulysses works like that. There's no Ulysses folder, so I don't know with that. But that is how you would organise them. So given that it's totally free, if your need for GoodNotes is like once every month or something, then it's probably a good alternative. It has been around a long, long time, and there's been a lot of development on it, and how he does it for free, I have no idea. So I supported him with a purchase. I don't know where GoodNotes is going to go, but it's always good to have an alternative. And seeing as though I've already binned Notability, when I say binned, I've got notes in it that I've got to export as PDF. It's absolute pain. And I was only using Notability because GoodNotes broke. That's why I always tend to have an alternative app that I can turn to. So do we have any questions on that? Well, I've still got this on the screen.
I don't think we did. No.
Was that it for questions earlier?
Yeah, Danielle has asked about putting it on the Mac or on the iPad.
If you have an Apple Silicon, you can install any iOS app that supports it, and this is one of the ones that supports it. I haven't done it, but you could. Now, obviously, how would the pencil work, Mike? Oh, I need to try it, don't I, and find out. But you could certainly type on it if you wanted to. And you would be able to file manage on the Mac. But no, there isn't a dedicated version. I kind of understand that. I don't know whether it would be a big job to port it. And obviously he's thinking that the pencil is the killer feature, and that's on an iPad. But that is where we are at with it. So, is that it?
That's it.
Right, let's come in here then and not do that anymore. Oh, excellent. So at least that worked. I was concerned about that because my iPad won't charge today. It won't charge because it's too hot. It only gets to a certain percentage and then it's had enough. At that point, you've got to leave it be. It gets upset with its little self. Right, let's head off back into here. Oh, freebies. I've got some good freebies. I'm liking these freebies. I actually made something with these freebies. It is our friends at Creative Market, and one of the freebies this week was vintage letters. Now, I've seen fonts like this, but you have to deal with it. You have to format it. Whereas with these vintage letters, they are actually PNGs. They are huge PNGs, so the quality is great. And you get a whole range of each letter. So I had a ponder, and I thought, you'll like this, Mike. I let MacBites Siri loose with it. So if you've listened to, I can't remember which show it was now, but if you've heard of, it was Kettling, wasn't it? I think the show was called Kettling. Kettling something in a 9 to 5 nightmare was what it was called. Yes, so Siri has got the kettle. So you can get these, I think they're free for the next 2 or 3 days, till Tuesday, I think. So you need to go to creativemarket.com/free-goods to get those. But I'll actually show you what you get, because it's not like a sample. I have in here the freebies. So let's have a look at them. So they download as vintage letters. When you unzip them, you end up with this. So you have all of the alphabet neatly organised. And for each letter, you have 5 alternatives. And what I noticed about the 5 alternatives was that they weren't all the same. So this one starts off with a very dark one and then goes to red. But the next one starts off with something that there isn't a matching A for. So it doesn't look samey. These are all very, very different. So those are the letters. Obviously the numbers are the numbers. And there you go. The interesting thing was the extras, I thought. Because the extras, I thought, are these numbers? Because they were numbered folders. But no. What you've got in here is brackets. So they were the opening brackets. These were the closing brackets. And a whole range of other things, exclamation marks. I think one of them was question marks. There we go. Don't know why they've just numbered the folders. It would be handy. But you see, what I would do with these is put them in Eagle and use them from Eagle. But you've got a whole range of things in there. You might need to create some extras. The ampersand's handy. I'm not sure if there was a UK pound sign. I don't think so. So full stop, stuff like that. And the last one was the and. And at and cool and extra. So a few words if you wanted to just put those on and have them match. So obviously the O and the F, you may not have a matching character, so they've actually given you the words there. And there they are. I think they're really cool. I like that. That might feature on a MacBites poster sometime soon. So let's lose that. So again, you need to go to creativemarket.com/free-goods. I'm wondering why that slide with you on has disappeared.
Oh.
I don't like it when slides disappear. It gives me, it breaks me out in hives.
So is it me now?
It's you now.
Right.
But obviously for it to be you now, I'll have to add that in. This is you playing around. I'm blaming Mike for this. Because you were going to do this a couple of weeks ago, weren't you? And then you got really, really busy. Right, so what is it again? Power BI?
It's Power BI reports on a Mac.
On a Mac. Right, see that? You wouldn't even notice. I didn't know you could edit a PowerPoint file while you were still running PowerPoint, but you actually can. Right, or apparently you can. Oh, what are you doing there? Now my mouse pointer's disappeared. So Mike will be doing that. Now, the only problem with that is how we actually get Mike to do that. So this is the second thing tonight that we're doing for the first time. So don't shout at us if it all goes wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip you over to the show poster while I come out of here. That's what I'll do there. And get Mike's machine up, because it might crash and burn, mightn't it, Mike? It might never appear because we're having to do something different. But fingers crossed, it'll be all right. So I need to do that. Oh, that looks amazing. And with a bit of luck, you'll be able to see it.
Tell me when to start.
Oh, dear. Dear. Well, that sort of worked, Mike, and sort of didn't. Right, what's happened is Camtasia's got its knickers in a knot and crashed. So I've recovered the file. I'll need to save that. Just talk amongst yourselves. I did mention this turning into a farce, didn't I, Mike?
You did.
Let's just save that and try and get it going again. I don't think it likes it with remote desktop. We'll find out, won't we? Let's
Daniela wants to know if anybody can recommend a good reader program for her iPad able to open a PDF.
A reader app. There's quite a few. Highlights is a good one. And many, many, many others. Let us know in the chat what you're using. Right. I can see it. That's working.
I could have said PDF Expert, but that's the
don't
S
say
word,
that.
isn't
That's
it?
The S word. It's
that's the S word.
Good night to you, Carol. Right. I think you can see Mike, and I think everything's okay now. It wasn't okay before, but I think it is now. So I'm going to leave my machine alone. I'm not going to touch a darn thing in case it dies again. Let's just leave it like that. Where you go, Mike.
Right. Okay. I'll make a start. I'm not looking at YouTube, so I'm assuming everything's okay. All right. Up until recently, creating a report in Power BI, you had to use Power BI Desktop. And the thing with Power BI Desktop is it's only available on Windows. But over the past few months, Microsoft have vastly improved the web version of Power BI. Just before we took our little hiatus a few weeks ago, I did show you how to edit a report in Power BI on the web. So today I'll show you how to create a report from scratch. Now, I'm going to use an Excel file. I'm going to bring the data in to Power BI from Excel, and this file can be in SharePoint, it can be in OneDrive for Business, or it could be on your local machine. So I happen to have here in my OneDrive for Business an Excel file. If I just open it, it's just some sales data. The data has to be in a table, so I've already done insert table, done that, so this data is now in a proper table. And then what I will do in Power BI, so I've logged into powerbi.com, is I start by going to the workspace where I want to store my report and data. So these are workspaces that I've created. You've got a button there to create a workspace. Think of a workspace as just a container to store your reports and your data within the Power BI website, which is known as the Power BI service. And for this demo, I'm going to put my data in the Mic Training workspace. So what I'll do is I'll click on New, and I'll click on Dataset, and then click on Excel. The thing with Power BI on the web is you have much fewer choices when it comes to data sources. Pretty much Excel and CSV, as you can see there. But with Power BI Desktop, which as I said is Windows only, that's why I'm not doing it here, you have about 150 different data sources. So I'll click on Excel, and I'll go to Documents. This is Documents inside my OneDrive, and I'll select Sales 2022 and click Import. So it's now importing the data. It says it could take a while, but it won't. He says, fingers crossed.
Oh, confident there.
It didn't in rehearsal. That's what I'm going off.
Didn't crash in rehearsal either.
This is very true. This is very true.
It knows when you're live.
So if I now go back to Workspaces and go back to Mic Training, then you can see the data set is in there. If I then want to create a report from this data set, what I'll do is click the three dots to the right of the dataset name and click Create Report. And if anyone here has used Power BI Desktop, then you'll recognize this. This is actually the web version, but it's very similar to Power BI Desktop. But it runs on the web, which is great. So it means it's cross-platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a card. A card is basically like an index card or a postcard. It's designed to store one value. So you've got all of these visualizations, as they're called, over here. You've got bar charts and pie charts and goodness knows whatever else. But you also have a load of other visuals that aren't your typical charts, one of which is a card. So if I click on the card visual, it creates it onto the canvas. I can move it around, I can resize it. And what I'm going to do here, what I want to display on this card is the total revenue. So if I was to go back to my data, there is a revenue column. And I want to literally total up all the revenues in that data and put the result on here. So on the right hand side, if I open up my sales data, which is the name of the tab in the Excel file, and drag total revenue straight onto there, it defaults to a sum and it gives me the total revenue. It shows it to me in thousands. So if I want to change that, I need to go over to the paintbrush button over here, and I need to expand call out value and change it from auto to none. So I can choose exactly how I want to display this. I've got different ways of displaying that. I'll have no decimal places as well. There we go. The obvious question is, can we put a $sign or a pound sign or some formatting in front of that? You can, but at the moment you have to go back to Power BI Desktop to do it, which is a bit of a problem for Mac users. But yeah, you do that via the data model, and although it says open the data model there are certain limitations on not being able to open the data model. This was something that I was planning to show you next week, assuming that I can actually get a data set working that lets me open the data model from the browser. But I will look at that further in the week. Just see if we've got any questions. It doesn't look like we have.
No, we haven't.
No? Okay, so I'll carry on. Now, other things I might want to do, I might want to change the background colour of that card, particularly as if I click away, there is no border. So it just looks like that number's floating in mid-air. So what I'll do there is, again, with the card selected, click on the paintbrush, go to General, go to Effects, and change the colour. And I'm going to use my green, which is 008037. That's very well remembered of me, isn't it? Because I've not used that for a while. But yeah, there's my green. And I think I'll make the number colour, I think I'll make that white. So for that, I need to go to Visual, Call Out Value, and change the colour there. Let's make that white. You can just about see here where it says sum of total revenue. What I'm going to do for that is I'm actually going to turn that off. So I will just literally turn the category label off. If you look very closely, you can just about see sum of total revenue. So I'll turn that off. But then I need some kind of title on here so that we know what that represents. And that is done through the title. So for that one, I go to General, turn the title on, and put the text in there. So that could just literally say total revenue. And I can format that as well. So let's make that text white and make that say, I don't know, 20 points and center it. 24 will do, and center it. And I'm just going to give you one example of a card, but you could imagine that you could have several cards going across. So what I'll do is actually copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So when you think about a sort of typical dashboard or a typical report, they quite often have tiles or cards. I mean, some systems call them tiles. In Power BI, they're called cards, and it's just your key numbers. It's your key metrics at the top, which makes it easy for whoever is using those reports to be able to see them at a glance. So it could be total revenue, another one could be total cost, another one could be number of orders, etc., etc. And obviously, if you only had 3 of those, you could resize them accordingly to fill the fill screen. The next thing I'm going to do is put a solid line going across. So to do that, I'll go to Shapes, and click on line, and it gives me a line which I will extend. I don't want the lines container to be as tall as that, and I'm going to change the color of the line. Which to do that I need to go to, I think it's not shape, it's style. I think, yeah, style. Is it style? Yeah, I think it's no, that's the fill. That's the fill. So border, must be the border. Yeah, there it is. Style border. There's so many options, and Microsoft keep changing where they place these things. It's a full-time job trying to keep up. There we go, that's green, and I'll just make that a little bit thicker. Okay, so I've only done that for aesthetics, just to separate the key metrics at the top from what I'm going to create underneath. Okay, just check for more questions. Nope. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a map, because what we have is we have a where is it gone? Customer location column. In fact, if I actually show you the data in Excel, it'll save me having to come out of the report and go and show you the data in Power BI. So if I show you the data here, each order was placed at one of this company's stores. They have about 5 or 6 stores around the US. So what I want to show is I want to show visually how much, not how much revenue was generated by each location, but I want to show a map with little circles for each location, which basically the bigger the circle, the bigger the number. So you can visually see which store has generated the most money. So I need to go back to here, and you've actually got a number of different maps, and you can also go to the 3 dots here and get more visuals, and that takes you to basically a Power BI visual store. Most of these are free, but there's some rather cool visuals here, but I won't go to those at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll use this filled map here. You've got a map. No, I won't. I'll use the standard map, I think.
You're lying.
Sorry?
You're lying.
I'm lying. I've changed my mind. You've got an Azure map. Actually, I haven't played with Azure maps, but Azure maps are the latest and greatest. But as I haven't tinkered with that, I'll leave that one alone for today. So I'll go for the standard map. So there's a standard map, which I will resize. Let's just make it this tall. And if you look underneath the visuals panel, you've got these different basically areas that you can add these fields to. And this is how you build up the map. So if I drag customer location onto location, what it will do, if you look closely, is it's put little markers against each location, and you can hover over those markers, these little blue markers. I'll change the color in a minute because they're not easy to see, but you hover over them and it actually tells you what each one represents. And then I will drag in the total revenue and drop that onto bubble size. And what that does is it makes the bubbles bigger, but the size of the bubble is dependent on the size of the number that it's representing, which in this case is the total revenue. Now I'm going to make a few changes to how that map looks. So let's go to format your visual. I'm going to go to map settings and change the style. So you can have different styles of maps. Let's just go through a few of them. I'll probably settle on the grayscale. Yeah, let's settle on the grayscale. Show labels. I want that to be on. But what I also want to do is turn on the category labels. Actually, no, I'll turn off on the map settings. Where's it gone? Yeah, I'll turn off the labels, and that way I don't see anything except the actual categories from Excel. It just makes it a little bit cleaner. I can also change the bubbles colour down here. So let's make that red. I don't have a red there, so I'll just do, I think it's 25500 it must be. 255, there we go. So that's a proper red. And what else can I do? Yeah, on the category labels, I'll turn the background of the labels off, and I'll set the colour of the text to red so that stands out and make it bold. Okay, how are we doing? No questions still? So, no? Okay, I will carry on. So if the data changes, of course, you do a refresh and the whole of this report would update. And finally, I'm going to add what is called a slicer. I've probably shown you slicers in the past in Excel. This is a similar concept. It's slightly different though in how it's implemented. I'm just going to make that map a little bit bigger. Yeah, that'll do. And then I'll stick a slicer on, which is that button there. So click the slicer, and what the slicer allows me to do is to do a filter. So I'm going to filter, I think I'll filter this by month, and you can see we've actually got a month column. So I'll drag the month onto the slicer, and it's only giving us to May because that's all I've got in the spreadsheet. So I can choose a month, and what it's done here is it's applied, obviously I didn't create different cards, so it's just generated the same value, but it's showing me the total revenue for January, and it's applied the filter to the map as well. I could choose a different month. You can actually set it to have multiple selections if you wanted to, which I think I've got. So to do that, you just hold down the control key as you select, or the command key if you're using a Mac. So if you wanted to do the first quarter, you can do it like that. But there's another way that you can display this slicer. I can go up to the slicer formatting options, and I can go to slicer settings, and I can change it from a vertical list to tiles. And you can also change the colour of those tiles as well, but I'll leave them as they are. But as you click the buttons, it actually selects the slicer, tiles, which I think is kind of cool. And again, you can actually select multiple ones as well. Okay, so I haven't actually saved this report yet, so I'll go up to File, Save, and I will actually call this Sales Year to Date, and click Save. And if I then go back to my workspace, you can see that we've got the data set and we've got the report. At the moment, I'm the only person who has access to the report, but what I can do is I can go into the report and I can share it, and I can choose who to share it with, and it will then send them an email, and they've got a link in that email. But there we go, that is an example of how you can create a fairly cool, a fairly snazzy report in Power BI on the web. As I said, up until recently, you've only been able to do that using Power BI Desktop, which is a Windows only app. Okay, so do we have any questions?
It doesn't look like we do.
All right, I will pass.
I would like to say I could elegantly get out of this, but you know, that went so well last time, didn't it?
I will pass back to you then.
Right, I'll do that and try and elegantly get out of here. Right. Why does it move menu items around, Mike?
I don't know. Why does it move menu items?
It does. It does weirdness.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
No. I'll do that, and with a bit of luck, magic stuff over here. Way right. So I need to go backwards actually. This is crazy. Right. Hey! Okay, so Obsidian. This is tiny but powerful. Tiny but mighty, I think we'll say. So it's got the ability to use Footnotes and always has had. But it's one of those things that's like, oh, go on, remind me again. How on earth do I do that? And because of that, I was like, I'll just put it down as a comment. You know, I won't bother. But I found this extension, and it does one thing and does it great, that makes it easy for you to work with Footnotes. So let's go and have a look at that. Okay. Now, I'm going to use my Vault for this, which is always dangerous, isn't it? Right. Let's have a look. I've got a complete one, and I've got a demo one. So let's move that across and have a look at what that looks like. So this is my notes for today, so let's lose that. So this is the complete one, and this is the demo one. So what I've done in the complete one, if we look there, we have a tiny, tiny thing. Let's do that. There. Why is that pink? You're just playing with my mind, aren't you? Right, we have a 1 there. If we look down here, we have a 1 that matches it. So it's a footnote, a proper footnote. We also have a 2. Where did I put the 2? I put the 2 at the end of the no additional software there, and we have that here. Right, the beauty of this is that if we are looking up here, and we... let me get this one down here. This will take you, it should take you back to where we were, which is 2 here. And do you take me back to 1? You should do. Right? So it's how we create these, and then what you can do with them. So that's the one that's complete. This is the one that is not complete. So working on the principle that it'll be fine. What I've done is I've highlighted the stuff here in highlight and bold that I want as the footnote. So that's the only reason that it's in bold, so I know what was there. And I think this one, I actually changed the text. So what I'm going to do in here is get rid of the text. So I want it to finish there with a full stop, and then I want to put something in a footnote. So what I want to do is say here, released in. So let's get rid of that and the closing there. So I've got a neat and tidy paragraph, and on my clipboard, I've got what I want in the note at the end. So I can decide whether I want that before or after the full stop. That is a style issue that's up to you. I think I used to put it after. Right, to actually do this, it's installed on here, it's working, it's configured. But you are going to need to start from scratch. So in the community plugins, make sure they are turned on, and then head off to browse them. And in there, if you type in Footnote, you will see this one from Alexis Rondo. This is Footnote shortcut. So it's doing, there are other options, but this one is just very, very simple. And all I wanted to do with it was be able to quickly and easily format footnotes and not have to think about it. So I installed that. When we head back in here, what does that look like? This one here is what it looks like. So you can see that it is already enabled. If I'd installed it, but I hadn't enabled it, this would say enable. So I would click enable. You will get, this will do absolutely nothing if you don't set some hotkeys. So there are 2 hotkeys that need to be set for this to work. One is going to let you navigate auto-numbered footnotes, and the other is going to let you navigate named footnotes. Now, they did make a suggestion as to a shortcut key, and I totally ignored it. The reason that I totally ignored it was I thought, I'm never going to remember all these shortcuts unless they make total sense. Now, because a footnote starts with a little hat symbol, which in the UK is on the 6th key, do let me know where it is where you are. There's probably a name for the hat symbol, isn't there? And I don't know what it is. So for me, it's
Circumflex.
Is it? Oh, no. See, I knew that, but I didn't think it was that one. Never mind.
Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Why don't you go and have a look? What's the thing over the 6th key in the UK? But that is the same symbol as the footnote. So for me, that made sense. So I thought, right, I just need to work out what modifier keys to use with it. So I took the decision to use the option 6 key.
Carrot.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Carrot.
Yeah, whatever. Right, so I chose option and 6 for auto-numbered. Now, as it says there, you can name these footnotes. So for that one, I decided on the option key still, but add in the control key. Now, I would normally have gone for command, but command, option and 6 for me applies a level 6 heading. So I didn't want to get it confused with that. So I left it at command. So those are the two, at control. Those are the two that I chose, but you can choose anything you like, anything that makes sense to you. And of course, to take it a step further, if you've got something like a Stream Deck, you can hook it up with that, and then you'll be able to navigate with your Stream Deck. So that's what you need to do. Once you've done that, you are at the point that I am at here, where I want to put in a footnote just before the bit there that says quick look. So option 6, it's done it, but it's jumped you down to the bottom of the document, ready to type in what this is. So I had some text on here. Right, I actually want to type that again. So Mac OS Leopard was released in October 2007. That's absolutely fine. So up here we've got the 1 and we've got the footnote at the bottom. The next thing that I'm going to do is put the second one in here, and this is talking about better zip. So what I did there was it's that text. So that's what I really need to add in here. Right, so what I need to do is go to where I want it, which is there, delete the placeholder text, and again I'm going to put in another footnote, so option 6. That takes me down to the bottom. I can paste in what the text is of my footnote, and you'll see here this is underlined, and that is underlined. It should be jumping me backwards and forwards. Let's have a look if this is. Doesn't look like it is, and I don't know why. But I know it works when it needs to. In fact, let's see what it does if it's not in that mode. Not doing it there either. Oh, actually it should be, because we've got that. That will take us back to where this came from, and that will take us down there. So it is actually working. The mode I've moved into is full preview mode, reading mode, rather than edit mode. So if there's a book showing, you're in edit mode. If there is a pen showing, you are in reading mode. And it does let you navigate backwards and forwards in reading mode. Now that's great as far as it goes. Right, the one thing we haven't got in there is any that are named. So if we wanted to make a comment about, what would we want to make a comment about? Rapid preview. Let's say we wanted to add something about rapid preview. But this time I don't want it to just be number 3. In fact, it would be number 2. I actually want to name this. So this time it's option control and 6. And it doesn't take you anywhere. It stops and it lets you type this in. So if I wanted this to be called rapid preview, I could do that. Then down here, there's nothing there at the moment, but if I do that again, you can see I use the same key and it's put rapid preview at the bottom. Right, something interesting about rapid preview. And then from that point, I can then jump back to it. So I'm using the same shortcut key, hence it being a navigation key. It's inserting the footnote, but it's also letting you navigate between the thing. So those are the two things that it can do, either numbered footnotes or named footnotes. But if you're bothering to put stuff like that in, you could do it just for you. But most of the time, I would suspect you would be doing that for someone else. So anything that you have in your Obsidian, and I haven't set this up in a way that I've customized it at all. This is out of the box that you're going to see. In here, you can see I've got lines between these numbers. I've got lines here, and I've got my footnotes. But if I go to here and I choose to export this as a PDF, I can choose to include the file name as a title. Now, because the file name's actually different, I could do, just so you know it's a demo, so I'll leave that on, but you could do it without that if you just wanted the heading underneath. You can choose the page size and whether it's landscape or portrait. Portrait's the default. There is a default margin, and you can choose to downscale it if you need to. I'm leaving everything as it is. I'm going to export a PDF, which will take me to my downloads folder, which isn't where I want to be. I want to be in there. I can rename the file if I want to, but we will just do that. and it opens it up in preview for me, which is the default at the moment. Now, what this has formatted, you can see we've got this showing, which is the file name as a heading 1. That was an option, so you didn't actually have to have that if you didn't want. Then this is a heading 1 in my document. You'll notice that the blank lines that were there in Obsidian are removed when it's sent out to PDF. We have our 1 there. We have our named 1 under Rapid Preview, which has come out as a 2. That's interesting. Oh, it's not. When it exports it, it's changed them to numbers, but it has actually renumbered them because this Better Zip one was originally a 2, and it's now been renamed to a 3. So all that we've got in here, there's the 2, and finally there is the 3. Now there's a lot going on here, so let's go back to the 1. If I click this in the PDF, it actually links it to the footnotes at the bottom of the page here. So now I've read that footnote, it's like, where did I come from? Because this could be a 20-page document. Well, you have this symbol at the end, and that takes you back to where you were sent there from. And that is actually the top line when you do that. We'll go down to Rapid Preview at number 2. That takes you down to here, and you can get back to number 2 from there. And finally, you've got your 3, and that would send it back to there. And that is an external link that would link to Mac It Better, which are the makers of Better Zip. So these footnotes, while you're working with it, you can either have them numbered or you can have them named. So if you want to know that that was Rapid Preview, while you're working with it, you can have them named. When it exports, it's exporting them as numbers. But if it's scientific papers or something like that, or you just want to keep part of the explanation away from the main body, that is a great way to do it. You can do all of that manually, but seeing as though there is an option there and it's so simple, you only have to remember the 2 shortcut keys, which was why I made it simple for myself by using the 6 key, which has got the whatever we're calling it on the top of it.
Circumflex or carrot?
Oh, it's got 2 names just to confuse me. Oh, fair enough. No, I'm not having anything that I need to pronounce, Mike. Leave it alone. Leave it as English. Leave it alone. So do we have any questions on that? Would anybody need to use that? I haven't used that myself for something of my own. I can imagine if I was creating something to be consumed by somebody else, I may very well do that. And I could probably export it as HTML if I got really clever with it. But I thought that was really neat and tidy if you are exporting that. I will show you what that looks like if you do it again, but without the title, because obviously the footnote demo title, not brilliant. It is for me finding it, but not if we're trying to export it to give it to somebody else. So include the file name as title, take that off, export it to PDF. We'll call that number 2. And now we've got just the content of the note there, which is our level 1 heading. Now, by default, it's using the styles that I have in Obsidian, but you can change that if you want to. Those are the styles that I prefer. You know, I have, this is a level 1, this is a 2. If you wanted a level 3 in here, that would be orange, so I would add a level 3. And let's add a level 4 while we're at it, which is green. And I think I have a 5 and a 6 as well. Let's have a 5. And these would obviously come out in it. Was 6 purple? Yes, 6 is purple. So I choose to have that. Let's put these either side of these. Let's get that down there. And export that one. So I've still got lots of lines in here that we don't particularly need. And that is how it would export that. So we'll do that again, no heading. Let's just export. And that is our number 3. And there's your 3, your 4, your 5, and your 6. There we go. So, do we have any questions on that or no?
No.
Oh, you're just hanging around for the unboxing, aren't you? Just saying, just saying. Right, let's get rid of that. And back into there. Right, so we do actually have an unboxing. Now, I've been teasing you with this, haven't I, Mike? But you guys don't know yet. You guys don't know what that is. So let me make some room on the desk, because you know you definitely need it, don't you, Mike, for what I'm about to attempt.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, something tells me you're not actually going to be thrilled with this, but never mind. Right, I'm going to switch to the webcam. Hey, there we go. Unboxing. So, what could I possibly be unboxing? Well, I've been teasing Mike for ages now that this is what I'm going to unbox. If you're wondering, it's my credit card bill. This is the credit card bill with the Mac Studio on it. So I've been threatening to unbox that. But, do you know what? I've been lying. Oh, naughty, naughty me. I'm not going to unbox that. I'm not going to unbox that at all. This is as much as a surprise for Mike as it is you. What we're actually going to be unboxing is Mike's birthday presents. He's stunned over there, aren't you? Right, so I need to do some jiggery pokery here.
Are you unboxing them?
No, I'm not unboxing them. You're unboxing them.
Oh, okay then.
I am going here with a bit of luck. Hang on, there we go. Right, because you don't want to see the rest of it, do you? I'm going to let you unbox your toys.
I'll be back in a second.
He's disappeared now, isn't this typical? Right, so these are his toys. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but these are his toys. Right, oh, it's above the 6 key. Kim says it's above the 6 key. That's awesome. At least it's in the same place. Hello, Dee. Good grief, Dee. Good to see you. Heading into the unboxing, as you've seen. Oh, look at him. And that was a surprise, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Right, well, that's what they're seeing, so you need to be unboxing it about there. So I'll get out of the way, and I'll let you choose which one you unbox first.
That one.
That one, right, where you go then. You'll have to unbox it on the desk. No, you can't take it, you've got to let them see it.
Oh,
so I'll move that one, you move that into shot. Right, there we go.
Right.
Right. You didn't know, did you?
No.
No.
No. Otherwise I'd have put some clothes on.
You went to put a t-shirt on, didn't you?
Yeah.
And thought all of my fun.
Oh, it's something from Amazon.
It's something from Amazon. Right, get rid of the wrapping paper.
Right.
Right. You're going to need something to help with that.
Yeah.
Well, if you took
Somebody with nails.
If you took the end there, couldn't you?
Oh, okay.
Couldn't you grab that and pull? Oh, I hope it's in one piece. Grab the other end. Hey, birthdays! How old? Older than he wants to admit. There you go. There's some more. So get that off. Did you think you can get in now?
Oh no.
Oh, maybe not. Hang on. Oh yes, you can. There you go. Put your finger under there. There we go. It's a box. Don't read it. You've got to open the box. There's even a little Billy Do in it. A Billy Do.
I can see what it is, I just can't read it.
There you go.
Oh,
right. Open that. And open that bit.
It's a mug.
It's not just any mug.
It says, if you think I'm cool now, wait until you see my spreadsheets. You stick in front of the camera.
There we go.
There we go.
It's to add to your mug collection.
Oh,
Do you want to admit what you did to your mug collection last week?
Well, I've done two things to the mug collection.
Right, there's the Billy Do in it.
One thing I did to the mug collection was a broken mug.
Yes, was that one?
I broke them for your look-up, mug. Oh, last week I forgot to put them on the bookshelf.
Yes. So, we have another one.
If anybody's
wondering where they were,
seen my video
they were on
from last
holiday.
week,
the mugs went on holiday.
they forgot to be put on.
Yeah, just notice how well wrapped this is. Did that myself.
Thank you.
Yes, did that myself.
Where did you get the wrapping paper?
Under the bed. Oh, bad words were said as I struggled to get it out on my own.
You should have told me.
What was the point in telling you I needed wrapping paper for the birthday gifts you didn't know about?
You didn't have to tell me.
Come on.
Who it was for.
Yes, but you didn't know you were getting a gift, did you?
No, I didn't.
Way! Right, need to move that across. Should we get another?
It was a big surprise.
Yes, it was a total surprise, and it had to be. So I waited until you were out with the dog, but I didn't feel up to attempting the bed thing. So then I decided I'd leave it until you were in your webinar. Oh, this is tricky. We might need scissors for this one. This one's trickier. Right. Kim's totally impressed with the wrapping job. Excellent. I did a good job on that. I did. It was tricky as well. It's that paper that doesn't sellotape well. Do you remember that one Mum got, the Goldie thing? And then she said it doesn't wrap well. You do know my mother. Oh, she was scientific with it. Right, there we go. I think if you put your finger in there, you should be able to pull. In front of the camera, not away from the camera, Mike. I think you may have a clue what that might be at this point.
A twin?
Not totally a twin, no.
Right.
But get it in front of the camera. Right, open it that way. Go on. Can't you just pull that?
No.
You pull that down.
Oh, right. I'm trying to avoid the microphone.
Right, there we go. Show them the mug inside the box.
There we go.
You're stuck, aren't you?
Excellent at my job. I know my sheet. I like that one.
I thought you might.
Yes.
I thought you might like that. So it's 2 new mugs for your collection.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, darling.
Thank you.
Right, all the boxes on the floor, all the paper on the floor.
That's cool.
You like them?
Yes.
Have you got room on your shelf?
I'll find room. I'll
jiggle them around
what
until you have.
It? What do you call it?
What?
Like a squad game.
Oh, swap them in,
Swap
and, out.
them in and out.
There you go. Well, there they are.
Rotate.
Yeah,
rotate.
oh, like United. So you'll
Yeah.
have one there on Saturday and one there on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. So what I've done here, there's a little Billy Do note as well, which I've got if he hasn't. Oh, hang on a minute. That's not the Billy Do note.
Did it say happy birthday? Or was it the price?
Crying out loud. That says packaging slip. There must be another thing in there because I put a little note. Look, there's a little note with them.
Oh.
Where's it gone?
I don't know.
Get me the box off. Not that one. Which one was the first one? You better have put my little note in. Oh, there you go. There it is. There we go. There you go. There's the little note that went with it. It says from Elaine and Lola. But it also says, we know you know your sheet. That's not it. That's a packing list.
Oh, right.
Right? That's the note, and that's the other one. Crying out loud. He's looking at this now. The receipts. So, happy birthday.
Thank you.
There we go.
I'll take them over and put them on my desk.
Oh, you're taking them out of sight now?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Right.
Right, I'll switch back to this. Now I've got it up and running.
So, are we not unboxing the credit card?
No, we're not unboxing the credit
No,
card.
I thought-
That was a total lie,
I
Mike.
thought that would be fun.
I don't want to see the total on it. But what Mike did say was, we'll need to open it early, won't we, to pay it off in episodes.
Well, if
Yes.
you don't need to see the total, you do know how much it was.
I know how much I spent, but I don't need reminding of it. That's what I'll say. I don't need reminding, Mike. Right, let's get this back to there. Whoa, you're seeing what I'm seeing now. So that was the unboxing. So if that wasn't clear enough, there you go. I like the way it said excellent, the same way that it's spelt on your T-shirt.
Yes,
He's got
me
the
too.
biggest smile on his face
Yes,
now. Look
thank
at
you.
his little face. So if you want one, there's the link. There's the link to Amazon for it. And that's his other one. Yes, you are cool, aren't you? And you've got cool spreadsheets.
I was actually going to say to you,
Oh dear, what?
if you're looking for something to buy for your birthday, another T-shirt.
Ah, yes,
That's
now,
all.
I did think of a T-shirt, but then I'd have to ask you what size you wanted, and then that would have ruined the surprise.
True.
So I thought mugs come in one size,
Yes.
so that's that sorted. So
I'll buy
but-
myself a T-shirt.
Yes, get yourself a T-shirt, Mike. So he's had it early. Oh, only an hour early, but early nevertheless. Hey, Mike.
2 hours early. I was born at 5 to 1.
Oh, right. No, I was born at 20 to 6 in the evening.
No.
Yeah. You just wanted to disturb your mother, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I waited until my dad was on his way home. He went to work that day, you know. Mum went into labour about 4 o'clock in the morning. He said, I've got to go to work. And he did. They don't do that now, do they? Oh, mind you, he was a bit like that, my dad.
And Grandpa Graham rang Auntie Abby, who was in Ireland, and said, "Hello, Auntie Abby." And little tear went down her eye.
Oh. Right, okay, what have we got coming up? Now we've done all of the birthday things. We're back next week. By which point, I'm going to need a photograph of all your mugs lined up for the slides, Mike. So see that happens. Yes, back again next week.
I'm scared to put these on the bookshelf now.
Well, Mike, let's just say Mike assembled the bookshelf. So when he said, did you notice anything about my video? I said, oh, I did, but it was to do with the audio, wasn't it? Anyway, it was YouTube playing around. He said, no, I didn't put the mugs out. And I said, I noticed that. I said, but what do you mean put them out? And he said, well, they don't live on there. They live on the bureau. And I said, why do they live on the bureau when they need to live on the shelf? Well, the upshot of it was I assembled the bureau, Mike assembled the shelf, and he doesn't trust it, do you?
No, it is a bit rickety, despite the fact it's got a brick on the bottom shelf to try steady it.
Okay, I need to go down and have a look at the shelf, don't I, Mike?
No, you don't.
I do the DIY. Mike does the domestic-y things, don't you? So, yes, we've got to look after his mugs. Right, everything on demand as well. YouTube.com/Elaine Giles, where you will find the MacBites After Hours playlist with every episode ever on there. You can get to that, macbites.co.uk/After Hours playlist. And of course, we love you guys. If you love the fun and games we have here, give us a like. It makes a difference with YouTube, let's just say that. And you could subscribe and hit the notification bell, and that way you will be notified and never miss anything. Jammy needs to do that, doesn't he? In fact, Jammy needs to have Big Ben next door to remind him, I think. Right, I have got a mail to go out this weekend, at last. Once I work out I can get a table in an email, I'm sorted. So make sure that you receive it by going to elainegiles.com/VIP and signing up. Of course, there will be multiple MacBites mails as well. Always, well, it's Tuesday when they least expect a MacBites, do you think? Well, they may or may not be. So macbites.co.uk/MacBites-mail. And in the meantime, there's Slack, where we carry on the conversation. If you are not already a member, you can go to macbites.co.uk/join Slack. If you are a member and you want to just go visit Slack, you can get there directly with macbites.co.uk/Slack. And with that, we are done. So I am moving across. Well, I would be if I was moving. There we go. I am actually moving. Awesome. So there we go. So what have we got? Let me have a look here. Jammy's already subscribed. Oh, Kim, I like that, Kim. I see what you did there. Birthday unboxing was excellent. Excellent. He had no idea. In fact, now you know why on Monday when they arrived. Because I wanted them sent separate on the basis if one got broken in transit, I didn't want them both broken. So I had to order them 12 hours apart. It was all scientific, this. You see, you're seeing behind the scenes now. So I ordered them separately on Sunday. Well, one like the small hours of Saturday morning and the other on Sunday. And they both arrived on Monday. So Mike toddled in and said, your Amazon stuff's here. Do you want them up here? And I thought, better have. So I said, yes, bring them up. So then he stood there and said, are you not opening them? I said, no, it's down there. Not a panic yet. Well, why did you want to bring them up? I thought, oh, for crying out loud, stop asking questions. So there they've stayed de-COVIDing for the week. It comes to today, and I knew the wrapping paper was under the bed. But I thought, how much Christmas wrapping paper is on top of the wrapping paper that I need? And then twice this week, something has fallen out of the box. I don't know if you noticed. And I hadn't touched it at this stage. One was a with sympathy card, because we've got lots of those. And it fell out. And I thought, no. The one we sent this week was get well soon. Unless things have progressed. So I left that under the fan. The second thing that fell out...
I wonder why that was there. I assumed it had fallen out.
Yeah, it did. But I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how. So hopefully she won't get any worse. But if she does, there's a with sympathy card. Anyway, the next thing that fell over was the box off the electric toothbrush.
Yes, I found that tonight.
And I couldn't get that back under either. That was why I couldn't...
When I was vacuuming up.
That's why I couldn't struggle. That was because I lost 2 pills. Don't. It's been a bit of a day. So when I came to get it out, I then had to take all the bags off the top and the tissue paper off the top and then grab hold of this box and pull. Then the lid came off and there were bad words said, Mike, there were.
And have you put it back or do I need to put it back?
Well, I had to put it back because I knew you'd be going in there. So it was all put back, but there were very bad words said.
Really?
It's a huge box, and that's what it's for, isn't it? It's a box that you put wrapping paper in it in rolls. So yes, it's all organised. It's
we got that from Wilco's, didn't we?
Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah, they've just gone bust. Do you know Wilco's going bust though? I mean, we've got so much stuff from there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've not been out in 3.5 years, but even so, we got a lot of stuff from them. We even have them deliver stuff. Yeah, we were that keen on it, and now
Yeah.
that they've gone as well.
The last time I was in Wilko's was when I was running around sale 3 years ago trying to get hand sanitizer.
Well, not surprised they went bust. They didn't have any, did they? Now, if you're in the market for hand sanitizer, we have hand sanitizer. We were looking for little bottles, weren't we? About 75ml, something like that.
Yeah, these things.
Yeah. But they didn't have any. So about 2 months into the pandemic, I managed to find some hand sanitizer, but you had to buy it in bulk. And when I say in bulk, it was something like, was it 7 bottles of 5 litres each?
Something like that.
Hand sanitizer is not something we're short of. But then I used hand sanitizer before it was trendy, you know. And we never touch any post or any door handles or anything without hand sanitizer. No wonder we've been so fit and healthy for so long. This is how it works. When do you think you'll brave the world again? The Apple stores are waiting for you. Do you know, the Apple stores just aren't what they were. And the other thing with the Apple store is, in years gone by, I went to the, you probably heard this on an old MacBites, I went to the Manchester store. Trafford Centre are pretty useless. So I went to the Arndale store in Manchester. And I bought a Mac. Mike had no idea until I tweeted it. and he spotted it.
That was the iPad.
It wasn't.
Wasn't it?
No, that was delivered to the door, dear. Do you mean iPad Cyril?
Yeah, you tweeted that.
I did tweet
You had
iPad
to tell
Cyril.
me in case I saw it on Twitter.
Yes. I told Jane first before I told you.
I know you did.
She said something about, you've got an iPad coming. I said, I have actually, but I've not told Mike yet. She couldn't believe it.
This was iPad Nigel, wasn't it?
No, iPad Cyril.
Oh.
iPad 3, that was. Yeah, because I wanted a Retina one because my eyes were good enough back then to be able to tell the difference and yours weren't. So I ended up with iPad Cyril. Yes, but no, this was an iMac. And the thing was, you could order the iMac and go and pick it up. These days, everything's built to order. Unless you want something that's standard, you know, you're looking at a 7-week back order. So Apple Store not as tempting as it once was, Jamie. So not much point going out then. It's actually, from a practical perspective, I know this is going to sound really ridiculous, but it's true. We put ourselves into lockdown on the 6th of March, 2020, which was 20 days before Boris did it for us. But we'd already decided it was probably wise. We went out to a Catenian meal the night before, and people were being ridiculous, weren't they? Some were bumping elbows, which I appreciated. And then this other idiot said, oh, my wife's not too well, let me kiss you. He got short shrift, didn't he? So we went to Tesco that night, which was when we were looking for more hand sanitizer, and they didn't have any either. They had plenty of toilet rolls, though, didn't they? And we didn't go out again after that. But what we noticed was, a year in, if Mike got a cold at work or a snuffle, then I'd get it. If I got it, he'd get it. And of course, we were also Eucharistic ministering. So you are giving out bread and wine. So if anybody else has got a cold, you'll get it as well. And I worked out that if I was planning my year for what amount of work I could get done, if I got a cough, it would last for like 4 to 6 weeks, which was bad news. You didn't feel that you could speak properly for that length of time. And there was a show we did a few years ago, and the desk was absolutely full of cough mixtures, headache pills, you name it. It was full of medication. I think there was a tooth issue involved there with an abscess, and bad words were said about that because they are agonising. So we worked out that if on average you got 4 colds a year and it took a month to get over it, you couldn't work for a third of the year. So about a year in, I said, not a cold or a snuffle. This is good, which meant we don't have to take time off. We can do more work, which means you can earn more money, which is grand. So by the end of the first year in lockdown, it's like, yeah, let's try another one. And that's what we did. So no need to venture out yet, Jammy, put it like that. I'm thinking if we venture out the house, we're going to be ill for 6 months, aren't we? We're going to find something that somebody's got. Then we've also got a new variant heading around in the UK. Was it called EG5? Talk about it had my name on it. Yeah, I didn't want to think about that. So there's a new variant kicking around. So we're staying exactly where we are. And we're very happy doing that. But, you know, one day, most of your birthday presents have said, we look forward to seeing you when you're ready.
True.
Which Don't hold your breath. Just saying. We are blessed that we can work from home. And even more blessed we can actually work when we're not snuffly and everything else. Who's been at one of my sessions when I've been snuffly? Oh, it's not pleasant. It isn't. Right, Jamie says he's been subscribed for 3 years. Excellent. And I know you're doing your marathon as well. And I know I prized your wallet open this week. Sorry about that, Jamie. Kim liked that app too, though. That was one that Kim liked. The what's it called? Side notes. Side something. Yes, I like that. What else was there that I could tempt you with? Nothing with a subscription, obviously. I wouldn't do that to you. But I'll have to dig around on other things I can tempt you with. Right, let me catch up now. Daniela was mentioning PDFs, and I put in about Highlights. Highlights is a free app. It's available on the Mac. It's available on iOS. And it is a PDF reader. But more than that, it lets you, as the name implies, add highlights. The highlights can be written notes, typed notes, just highlighting stuff, underlining stuff. Where the power comes in is those highlights, instead of being locked in the PDF, like you've underlined that paragraph or you've underlined 3 lines, there is an export option where you only export the highlights. So if it's scientific papers and you've got like a summary of it, that is a good option. It is subscription if you want the full thing. I think 26 something a year springs to mind. I have not done that yet, but I was going to have a look at it because I used to use another one called Margin Note, and that went subscription. There's a tail here, isn't there, Jamie? If it's decent, it goes subscription. So I was figuring, while that one was very visual, there were 2 that were competing with the other. One was Margin Note, and I can't remember the other one. They were very visual. You actually like pulled bits out of the PDF and you arranged it on this like canvas, which was great. But I don't have that need for much, to be honest. I might have that need for maybe 1 or 2 PDFs. But if I was studying, I would have much more need to do that. So I decided maybe it would be better to go for highlights rather than this Margin Note, which was very quirky. It also has sync issues for me, but then it probably used iCloud, didn't it? iCloud doesn't like me. So I would be thinking about trying highlights. When you export it, you can export the highlights to Markdown. And if they're in Markdown, then I could import them into Obsidian. So I might be tempted to do that. Oh, Jamie's got a request. Future show. You bought Divi too. Expensive month. And would love some kind of build with me. Oh, now I think Tracy uses Divi as well. That was mentioned a while back. One of the freebies was a full course on Divi. Now, it was an old version now. Do you remember? And Tracy said the information was okay, but the delivery was grating. So, yes, maybe we could do that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Divi is fantastic. It really is. But I do remember how I felt when we first bought it. We were doing an hour of Office, weren't we? And we put it on a site called Office Hour. And I got Divi on it. I'm looking at it with like, it doesn't look like it did when I bought it. So there was a heck of a learning curve. What happened for me was I got co-opted into building the church website. And at the time we had 3 parishes. And we needed a way to delineate what stories were for which parish. So I'm sitting looking at it and I thought, and I used a Divi feature to separate the content into 3 different colours. So everything was colour coded. And that really forced me to learn Divi to the point that I could make it bend to my will. So yes, that's a good one. We could start a series on that, couldn't we? Let me know, Jamie, what sort of site you're building. So is video important? Is audio important? Is it all text? How are you organising it? Let me know. Then we can have a think about how best to put that together. Dee, you are very welcome. It is good to have you back with us. Hopefully we will see you again soon. Something with bits to consider when building a site properly. Oh, yeah, we had one this week, didn't we? We install WordPress, which obviously you need with Divi. We install WordPress the proper way. I did remember doing a session on it, doing it the proper way. So everything's secured. It's called salting. So we'd salted this site. It was fantastic. And then we put this other thing on, didn't we? And it didn't work properly. And when we spoke to the developers, it was like, oh, well, why is it in that folder? And we just looked at each other like, doesn't everybody install it that way? That's the secure way to install it. You don't want a folder called blog with your, blog in it, do you? I don't know what happened with that one, but it did, didn't it? So maybe we could do that demo as well. WordPress is what you use anyway. Excellent. Excellent. Well, I certainly think Tracy would like that. So give me a couple of weeks to have a think about it. And I will add it to our list to cover shortly. It's not too warm in here now, is it? And how was the sound with the window open? We didn't have any ambulances or police tonight, did we?
I couldn't hear anything.
I thought it'd be quite quiet tonight on the Western Front. Although, having said that something spooky happened. Usually when an ambulance goes past, because we are on the ambulance route. Normally when it goes past, it's screeching past. And I explained to Mike the other night, one went past and it was just scary. I can see quite a way out of the window. I'd see more if that tree was taken down. But I can see quite far into the distance. And there was this, like, blue light. And I thought, is that an ambulance? Have I gone deaf? Because I can't hear it. And it crawled along the main road. Literally crawled. It must have taken almost a minute to get to where I could see it. And the blue light was flashing. We say the blues and twos here. The blues being the lights and the twos being the siren. There was no siren at all. I thought, what have you got the lights on for if you've got no siren on? And why are you crawling along? It looked like a snail's pace. And I thought, well, if there was nobody in it, you wouldn't have the lights on. And if there is somebody in it, aren't you in a rush to get them to hospital? Apparently not. It was the weirdest thing. It was so spooky. But then the following night, they were screeching past with the blues and twos on again. So that normal service was resumed. Oh, Kim said the sound was perfect. Excellent. You just don't know when you're hearing it. It's like when we're recording. If something goes past and you can hear it, you assume the microphone's picking it up. But 90% of the time, the microphone is not picking it up. The microphone would only pick it up if it was like, well, juggernauts go past, don't they? Like a bus going at quite a pace. And you may just about hear that. There have been cars going past all the way through it, but I didn't think the majority of it would be picked up, so it's good to hear that it wasn't. Right, Jamie is building something to showcase art writing and writing-focused learning. Right, okay, that sounds to me like you might be interested in projects. Do you remember that thing we had? It was like a thumbnail track. And the posters needed to be specific sizes. That's what Jonathan had against it. The poster needed to be a ludicrous size. It was an odd ratio that I'd never heard of before. So yeah, best practice would include things like what sizes are they and stuff like that. Which would lead to templates, wouldn't it? Templates in Affinity Designer, which is how I do it. So yeah, projects allow you to like put something up that isn't really a blog post, but it showcases something specific. We did used to do it on MacBites Learning, but it just took too much time as far as we were concerned. So we'll have a think about that. Right, Elaine, is there a feature on the iPad you'd love to see? Either a feature on iPad or an app you've always wanted ported over? I would love Scrivener, which is already there, to be equal in features. I wish it had feature parity with the desktop. I also wish, although it uses Dropbox, I wish it synchronized better. That would complete my world if I could do that, but it's not there yet. Not there yet. I don't think there's an app. Possibly Hindenburg, but then I've got 3 monitors, so why would I sit there on an iPad? Hindenburg has a recorder on iOS, but not an editor. So you can record stuff on the iPad, and you can automatically send it back to your desktop to edit. But there's no editor on there. So possibly that. But I just don't see me using it, if I'm honest. But Scrivener, yes. If Scrivener had feature parity, it would be fantastic. Right, Jamie says, something I'm awful with and would love to be enlightened about is optimising SEO with things like that, because you're hopeless. Do you know, SEO is absolutely simple. Don't cheat. Don't even try to cheat. Just put stuff up there that has value, and it will rise to the top. It's as simple as that. I see so many people trying to write stuff optimized for SEO, but Google changed their mind every 2 minutes. So I remember putting a site up. It was for my favourite actor. And there was all this, you need to optimize this and do this and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, do you know what? It's about this actor. Everything he's done, I've got pictures from, I've got write-ups of, I'd done reviews of theatre shows I'd seen him in. And I thought, why don't I just put the content up there and leave it be? And I did. And within 2 weeks, it was number 1 in Google because it had good information. And the information was more detailed and it was fuller in terms of the breadth of it than any other site out there had on that actor. So you put his name in and it came up number 1. So don't cheat. Simple as that. Don't cheat. Right, what else have we got? Oh, Jamie says sound was good for him too. Excellent. And Dee says, over here the lights are for emergencies, but the sirens only if there's traffic or intersections. I guess it could have been that, but then it made no sense to me because of the speed he was going. There was literally no need to be going so slowly. I've seen in America, they have like ambulances that are kitted out. They're like an operating theatre. And I know that they do more work on the way to hospital, but ours are more like a transit van, aren't they, with a seat in, to be honest. You wouldn't be doing anything like that, and I've never seen one go that slow. I know they're supposed to keep the sirens off if they can overnight, but that doesn't seem to work here. But there's not a problem. We sleep at the back. Do you remember? I wanted the back bedroom when we moved in because it was square, whereas the front bedroom has a bay window. So it's tricky to get furniture in corners. And Mum was like, no, I am sleeping in the back room. It's quiet. But we moved in the back room, didn't we? So the front room is now the office. But yeah, you get stuff like that going past, but it's not that bad. You can cope with it. You always wanted OneNote to have more features on iPad, but it's limited. I think I liked OneNote on the iPad because of the pen. The pencil, you can write, you can draw. And that's probably, when I was using OneNote on the iPad, that's what I was doing with it. They have improved OneNote, but it could probably go a lot more in terms of feature parity. You just love the iPad when you're on the couch. Well, I think that to me is what it was made for. If I'm lounging in bed, I've mentioned that I've got this stand and it's like a foam shape, like a triangle foam shape thing, and you prop the iPad up on it. I keep telling you to use it because you keep watching, don't you? And then you fall asleep and whatever it is hits you in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So use the stand, Mike. That's what it was bought for. Renee says, loves the couch when you're on your iPad too. But did you ever get that bed, Renee, with a telly in it? That was amazing. That was amazing. Dee is planning to get a proper desk and monitor set up soon. You need to see show, was it 199? 198, 199? When I did not unboxing, when I did the setup. Yeah, you need to see that one.
Yeah.
Pencil's handy. Yeah, I mean, you can use the pencil in other notes apps, but if you want type notes in there and a clipper as well, then OneNote is the way to go. That is literally the way to go. Have I ever considered doing a desk setup tour? D, it was done. It was done twice. The first one, can you just find... hang on, maybe I can find the shows. Because that's what I've written up. Right.
Was it the first one back?
I think the first one was the first one back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get Vivaldi up and have a look.
Okay, so I'll put the link in.
I've got the links in one of these things here. So, where were you? You were in there, weren't you? There we go. Right, got it. Okay, so it was it? It was that one. I've got direct links to both of them when I find them. What date was it?
14th of
14th we came back, didn't we? There we go. There's that one. Right, back with a bang and a surprise.
The TV bed's due in September.
Ooh, excitement. One was 199 and the other one was this one, and this actually has the link with it. So I think that was 2 weeks ago, Dee. So that link that I've just put in, that was the full desk tour. The full tour. Do I know if they ever released Affinity Publisher on iPad? Yes, they did. They did. That was released It was released when they released version 2. So it was November last year. Yes, they did. And I've got a session on that. A whole session dedicated to it. Let's have a look. Is this my channel? Excellent. Right. Where's my links? Publisher tutorials. Okay. Let me keep having a look then. There it is. So this is the one for iPad. So let's get that link in there. There we go. That was 2 hours, 45 minutes of everything you need to know about Affinity Publisher for iPad. There is another one for the desktop version with the new features, but the iPad one was new back then, so everything was new. Literally everything was new, so that was why it was so long. How do I grab these links? Well, we did a bit of the link grabbing earlier, didn't we? But that came from the website. From YouTube. So all I have to do is go to my channel and find the right one. There you go. And the other one is my month in review. And you know, I was pretty confident with that had a link in it with a time on it. And now I'm looking at it, it hasn't. So now I need to go and get that. So let me go and find that. Oh, it's got I see. What was I thinking there? Oh, well, I guess that would work, wouldn't it? Right, I'm going to get the second link. Oh, good grief. What's going on with this? Connection refused, YouTube refused to connect. When I click on that, what if I press play first? And then go and try and get there. No, it doesn't like it. Crying out loud.
Where are you?
I'm on my own, I'm on the MacBites blog. Right, and I'm clicking YouTube in the corner, and you know the error we got with Notion? We're getting it off there now.
I thought you were in Notion.
No, I'm not in Notion. I'm leaving Notion be. Trust me on that one.
Which show?
Right, hang on. I've got this link is unfortunately a bit longer. Unless I can do it by right-clicking and choosing it. That's better. Right, let's send this one.
Which number are you on?
199. Right, that's another link. That one is where I explain, and it's a direct link to where I explain what we've been up to in terms of kit. So watch the second link first, and then move on to the link that I sent before that. And let us know what you think, Dee. Let us know. Right, do we have any other questions before it's midnight and we're celebrating Mike's birthday? Oh, the excitement. The excitement. Renee is trying to improve himself in Blender. I'm glad you said in Blender and not with a blender. What are you trying to achieve with it? What are you doing?
For that old joke. A frog in a liquidizer.
Leave it be. Leave it be, Mike. 3D is the new 2D. Oh, right. Okay, then. Okay. I don't do much with 3D. I did do some 3D modelling in Photoshop, but that was a while back. Oh! Everybody wants to know how old you are, Mike.
Shall I tell them?
Yes, go on.
56.
But to be honest, 56 is the new 36, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we have, one of our bosses started this thing a couple of weeks ago on Teams, where you go in on a Friday and you put your highs and the lows of the week. So this week I put high, it's my birthday tomorrow. Low, I'm nearer 60 than 50.
I'm telling you, it's the new 36.
I got lots of loves for that.
Oh, good grief. Oh, we are all still in Slack, Dee. You need to be with us. Oh, Jamis is 36 next. There you go then, the same age. But that makes you 16. I'm not sure if that is a good thing or a bad thing. I wouldn't want to be 16 again. Would you? Imagine being 16 with social media like it is today. Oh, no, it'd be horrible. I'm much happier the age I am, but I don't want to get any older. No, so I'm working backwards from now. There you go. Right, okay then. If that is it, we will head off. So I will say good night from me.
And good night from me.
We will both see you next time. Stay safe, guys.